Chapter 2483. Blue River Planet. The first thing Yi Zichen did was lead them to the castle. Fortunately, Bai-yin had bought a large castle. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for so many people to live in it. Mr. Yi. They hadn't seen each other in years. When they saw Yi Zichen suddenly return, everyone rushed out of the castle, their eyes shining with joy. Mr. Yi, you're back. Bai-yin also walked up with a smile. As soon as she appeared, Xia Kiki and Lu Jing immediately frowned. What a beautiful woman! Su Yen sighed. Let me introduce, this is Bai-yin. He smiled at everyone and said, I'm working here now. I'm from Planet Shell. If there's anything you don't understand, just ask her. With that, Yi Zichen looked back. Bai-yin. These are my family. Please take care of them in the future. This is what I should do. Bai-yin smiled warmly. Yi Zichen also stretched his neck and looked at Su Yen and company. Then you guys settle down here. I'll be leaving with Big Sis Ling Feng. Be careful on the road. Don't worry. Yi Zichen waved towards everyone with a smile, then left the castle with Venerable Spirit Phoenix. There's still time. Of course. Venerable Spirit Phoenix shrugged. I've already calculated the time. I'll definitely make it in time. About half an hour later, Venerable Spirit Phoenix and Yi Zichen arrived at the Star Lord's office. When they arrived, the Master of the Stars seemed to be in the middle of some business. When he saw that the newcomers were the Spirit Phoenix and Yi Zichen, he hurriedly put down his work. Senior, you're finally back. It seems like you're quite anxious. Supremacy Spirit Phoenix laughed. Isn't there still time for the hegemony struggle? Senior, the contest has been brought forward. The Star Lord let out a long sigh. If it wasn't for the fact that the contest was brought forward, he wouldn't be in such a hurry. During this period of time, he had been thinking about it day and night. He just wanted to see Venerable Spirit Phoenix and Yi Zichen as soon as possible. After all, Yi Zichen was the one who recommended Yi Zichen. If Yi Zichen didn't participate in the supremacy struggle, then it meant that Blue River Planet had forfeited. This kind of loss was not something a Star Lord like him could bear. In advance, Venerable Spirit Phoenix frowned. The battle between the geniuses. It was held once every 1,000 years, and every time the time was fixed. There had been countless battles, but the time had never changed. This time, it was suddenly brought forward. What's going on? I don't know either. The Star Lord spread his hands. This is simply a change in time. The method of advancement is also different from before. I believe Senior knows that the first round of eliminations was carried out in the virtual network, right? Yes. The genius competition required several rounds of elimination, and the first 3 rounds were all carried out in the virtual network. It's different this time. Planet Lord heaved a sigh of relief. Sensing Venerable Spirit Phoenix's gaze, he hurriedly spoke. This time, we'll do it in reality. For the human clan in this area, the test will be held on a life star in By Now Galaxy. This time, to provide more places for the geniuses to compete in the assessment, many life stars have been cleared out. They have turned the life stars into the assessment area. It actually turned out like this. Venerable Spirit Phoenix frowned. Even though the Star Lord did not explain it clearly, Venerable Spirit Phoenix could roughly guess the content of the test. A battle for survival. This kind of assessment was usually held in the 6th round. Unexpectedly, it was brought forward to the 1st round. Let's go. Venerable Spirit Phoenix did not linger. She understood clearly that if they missed the time, they would lose the qualification to challenge this time. The Star Lord had prepared the flying ship almost immediately. 10 days later, the first elimination round of the genius competition was held in By Now Galaxy's life star, By Ming Planet. This life star was special. It was daytime almost 24 hours a day. The reason for this was that this life star had 3 solar systems around it. In other words, it had 4 suns around it. No matter how the life star rotated, the entire planet would be in daytime. Also, due to its special location, it was affected by the star's magnetic field, so its area was much smaller than other life stars. The entire life star had a population of 1.5 billion. This time, the white nether star was chosen as the territory for the competition. The residents of this planet were also expelled to other life stars. At this time, besides the participants of the competition, there were no other humans here. Yizichen, Venerable Spirit Phoenix, and the Lord of Blue River. When the three of them arrived, the place was already filled with people. There really are a lot of people here. Yizichen couldn't help but mutter as he looked at the crowd. That's for sure. The genius competition is only held once every 1,000 years. Anyone below the warlord level and who meets the requirements wants to come here and try. These are the participants from the By Now galaxy, and they've already been filtered out. Venerable Spirit Phoenix explained. Yeah. This is a grand event, the Blue River Star Lord smiled. Blue River's Star Lord also had a smile in his eyes. When he finally arrived at White Ming Star and saw the competitors outside, his heart finally relaxed. He had been nervous the entire time. He was afraid that the elimination round would have already begun by the time they arrived. So it's their strength. Yizichen looked around. If he wasn't wrong, even though there were a lot of people here, the number of experts was pitifully low. Not to mention the Universe 9 stage. Even the Universe level was extremely rare. What else do you want? Venerable Spirit Phoenix twitched her mouth. Do you think it's that easy to reach the Universe level? Even after 1,000 years, there are very few who can reach the Universe level. People like you are rather rare in the entire universe. Also, don't underestimate the genius competition. You're merely facing the participants from the By Now galaxy. The true experts haven't appeared yet. I know. But I feel like this round of elimination should be rather easy, right? Yizichen smiled. With his current strength, if he used all of his trump cards, he would be able to reach the standard of a marquis. Of course, that was only a rough estimate. No matter what, he hadn't truly fought against a marquis yet. But that was only after condensing his divinity and releasing his elemental spirit. If he used all of his trump cards, if he used his own strength and genetic power, it shouldn't be a problem for him to deal with a general or a commander. That's not a problem, Venerable Spirit Phoenix nodded with a smile. The way she saw it, the first round of elimination didn't pose any challenge to Yizichen at all. Chapter 2484. Senior. These are the criteria for advancement. Blue River's Star Lord brought over a flyer. This was the method of the competition, as well as the criteria for advancement. If it was in the past, this sort of thing should be done by the competitors themselves. Unfortunately, the situation here was different. One was a sovereign. The other was the sovereign's precious little brother. This sort of errands had to be done by the Star Lord. Let me see. The Spirit Phoenix sovereign took the flyer. About half a minute later, she put the flyer away with a smile on her face. I really don't know what went wrong with the octagon table. They actually agreed to this method? What happened? Yizichen frowned. Blue River's Star Lord's eyes were also filled with confusion. He didn't even look at it. The moment he got it back, he gave it to the Spirit Phoenix sovereign. Yizichen watched as the flyer was destroyed. He could only silently run out to get another leaflet and come back. This is too crazy. Yizichen frowned and took the flyer under the Blue River's Star Lord's shocked gaze. Advancement will be based on points. Above 1,000 points is enough. Points are obtained by hunting down ferocious beasts or eliminating others. By eliminating ferocious beasts, star level gets 1 point, star system level gets 10 points, and universe level gets 100 points. You will get 1 point for every person you eliminate, as well as half of the points the eliminated person already has. Actually, there wasn't anything special about this. It was just that at the end, there are no restrictions. Regardless of life or death, Big sis, can you explain to me what this regardless of life or death is for? Yi Zichen frowned. Don't tell me that there's a chance of dying in the elimination round. That should be the case. The Spirit Phoenix Sovereign nodded. Is there a need to make it so bloody? Yi Zichen glared at the people in front of him. We're all humans. Don't the higher-ups forbid humans from killing each other? That's why I'm curious about how the octagon table is discussed. The Spirit Phoenix Sovereign shrugged. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix shrugged as well. This kind of competition without any restrictions unlocks all of humanity's instincts that have been sealed away. The consequences of this are very serious. I wonder what kind of a battlefield it will be inside. Senior is right. Blue River's Star Lord also heavily nodded, expressing his approval of her words. There are many medical and rescue personnel around. But if it really comes to a critical juncture, these rescuers might not be able to arrive in time. But Mr. Yi can rest assured. A smile appeared on Blue River's Star Lord's face. Yes, you can rest assured. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix also nodded. No matter how vile this challenge was, it posed no threat to Yi Zichen, a 9th-layer universe-level cultivator. As the saying goes, in the face of absolute power, everything else is meaningless. Just focus on your elimination matches. Don't think about anything else. Venerable Spirit Phoenix said. When will it start? Yi Zichen asked. Not sure. Blue River's Star Lord shook his head. Logically speaking, the competition will start 3 days after the assembly starts. It's already been half a month. Look, there are already quite a few impatient people waiting here, but the organizers don't seem to be showing any signs of starting yet. They are waiting. Suddenly, the Spirit Phoenix's eyes narrowed as she spoke. Before he could finish his sentence, 2 more spaceships landed on the sky above the planet. There's actually someone who came later than us. Blue River's Star Lord chuckled. They really aren't afraid of time running out. What are they afraid of? Suddenly, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix spoke with a smile. Maybe the reason why they haven't started yet is because they're waiting for someone to come. I guess it's them. The hatch began to open. A man and a woman walked down from the 2 ships at the same time. The strange thing was that the woman wore a veil on her face and was dressed in white from head to toe. The man's face was covered with a black cloth. He was also dressed in black. The strange thing was that the 2 of them didn't seem to know each other. When they came down, they could clearly sense a trace of surprise in the eyes of the woman in white. However, the man in black remained expressionless. Yi Zichen observed them for a moment, then suddenly squinted his eyes. An expert. This is going to be interesting. The Spirit Phoenix also raised her eyebrows. Such a small by now galaxy actually has 6 universe level 9 people. The 6 people mentioned by Venerable Spirit Phoenix. Yi Zichen was one of them. It was the same for the black and white duo. There were also 3 universe level 9 experts in the crowd already waiting for them. In the past competitions, it was already very good for a single universe level 9 expert to come out from one of the zones. Some zones didn't even have any. This time, there were 6 from the By Now galaxy. This is a bit strange. The Spirit Phoenix squinted her eyes, then her voice suddenly sounded out in Yi Zichen's mind. Yi Zichen was momentarily stunned. Then, he looked at the calm Spirit Phoenix, then sent a voice transmission using the power of the universe. Do you think someone is purposely planning this? What else? The Spirit Phoenix replied. The By Now galaxy isn't a large galaxy, and there aren't any big families. You're hoping for a grassroots genius to appear? Do you think that's possible for 6 of them to suddenly appear? Are they coming for me? Yi Zichen frowned. I can't be sure. The Spirit Phoenix squinted her eyes. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix narrowed her eyes. I can't tell which one of them has a stronger goal, but you'd better be careful. There's something strange about this elimination round, from the system to the contestants. Understood. Yi Zichen nodded. At that moment, the Spirit Phoenix suddenly walked in front of Yi Zichen, then tossed a warm jade into his collar as if she was arranging his clothes for him. Yi Zichen subconsciously raised his eyebrows. The spirit phoenix's voice sounded out in his mind. This is my soul slip. I can't stay to watch you fight in the elimination round. I need to go and deal with my own matters. If you get into danger during the elimination round, crush it. Come and save me. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Dream on. I won't even know which universe country I'm going to by the time you fight. How could I possibly come and save you? Venerable Spirit Phoenix rolled her eyes. Crush your soul slip and I'll be able to receive information about your surroundings. When I return, I'll avenge you and let you die in peace. Sorry for the interruption. Yi Zichen cupped his fists and retreated. The competition hasn't even started, but he's already thinking about how to take revenge. Does the Spirit Phoenix have no confidence in me? Live on. I don't want my only ally to die just like that. We still have to do great things in the future. The Spirit Phoenix patted Yi Zichen's shoulders. At that moment, participants, come here to get your identity medallion. Chapter 2485. Quite a few people rushed forward. Go. The Spirit Phoenix patted Yi Zichen's shoulder with a rare gentleness in her eyes. We're leaving too. Yi Zichen pursed his lips as he watched the Spirit Phoenix and Blue River Star Lord leave. About an hour later. Yi Zichen. Here's your identity card. The staff threw a crystal card towards Yi Zichen, which recorded all of his information. Why did you shout my name so loudly? Yi Zichen, who received the identity card, frowned. Hearing that, the staff was momentarily stunned. How I speak is my own problem. What does that have to do with you? Don't purposely cause trouble here. There are plenty of people like you who want to get attention every year. I don't have time for you. If you really want to get noticed, then fight for it with your own abilities. The staff member who spoke was a bearded man. Universe Level 3. With Yi Zichen's strength, it was as easy as flipping his hand to kill him. However, after a brief moment of hesitation, he slowly walked out of the crowd with the identity card in hand, then couldn't help but smack his arm. Just what was I doing just now? Yi Zichen intentionally listened for a while. The bearded staff member would call out the name of anyone who applied for an identity card with him. Perhaps it was because his personality and appearance were rather rough. His voice was indeed much louder than the others. Yi Zichen, wake up. I feel like I'm still too tense. Ever since the Venerable Spirit Phoenix had pointed out that this elimination round was a little strange, he had been in a highly tense state. No matter what, this was the first time he faced the malice of the first universe directly. Hey friend. At that moment, a young man walked over from afar. Yi Zichen subconsciously frowned. The young man was momentarily stunned when he felt Yi Zichen's hostility and caution. Friend, aren't you a bit too nervous? We haven't started the elimination round yet. Are you getting into the zone ahead of time? What's up? Yi Zichen's tone was rather cold. Right now, he was absolutely suspicious of everyone here. Yi Zichen's cold tone caused the young man to pause. I came to invite you to join our team. The young man pointed towards a group of 7 or 8 young men and women. As he spoke, the young man pointed to a spot not far away where 7 to 8 young men and women were standing. There are no restrictions on the elimination this time, which means that our team has been recognized. Not interested. Yi Zichen rejected immediately. AI friend. The young man did not give up. I know you're pretty strong. There aren't many people in the elimination round this time. But no matter how strong you are, you can't handle so many people. Look, everyone here is forming their own cliques. Once they enter the competition grounds, it is inevitable that there will be clashes between groups. But before that, the groups will definitely get rid of the loners first. Look at our team, our strength isn't bad either. We have 4 universe levels, and the others are all star level 9. Yi Zichen pushed the youth away, then left without looking back. Ha ha, you failed. Will ye. Ye. Why don't we invite that beauty? During this time, Yi Zichen paid close attention to the youth. He only looked away when the youth went to invite the white-robed woman. Perhaps he really just wanted to invite her. Sister Feng, tell me, are you trying to scare me on purpose? You still want to play a trick on me before you leave? She touched the soul slip that the venerable spirit phoenix had given her. Yi Zichen let out a long breath. It was definitely impossible to team up with strangers, so Yi Zichen turned on the virtual network. Bar. Holy shit. Yezi. From Bar's exclamation mark, one could tell how surprised he was. You're back? I just got back. Which division are you in? I'm on the Sifting Orchid Star. Beiyu is also here. There are several of our acquaintances here. Where are you? I'm at Bai Ming. Why did you go there? Bar froze for a moment. The people of Blue River Star should be here with us. I'm late. Yi Zichen let out a helpless sigh. I was forced to be thrown here. There's no one I know here. F***ck. And here I was thinking of sucking up to you. Bar cursed. Alright, I saved a spot for you for nothing. We have to go find someone to suck up to. Bye. What a good friend. Yi Zichen couldn't help but let out a long sigh as he looked at Bar's chat. Gather. At that moment it was still the bearded man. Remember, crush your identity cards if you are in any danger. Our rescuers here will help you. Of course, your matches will end here. Now, everyone, close your eyes. You will be teleported to any location in the competition area. F***ck. The young man who invited Yi Zichen earlier waved his fist. If that's the case, all of the groups they formed earlier would be white group. Although the competition doesn't have any restrictions, I hate gangsters the most. How is it? Are you very angry? The bearded man grinned. But even if you're angry, you can't hit me. If you touch a single finger of mine, then you'll be eliminated, because I'm the referee. Are you even angrier now? There's something wrong with this person's brain, right? Bailey muttered. I think so too, Yi Zichen nodded. Oh yeah, did you analyze the planet's interior in detail? It's all done, Bailey smiled. Bailey smiled and said, I'll transfer the detailed map to your brain now. Not long later, an image appeared in Yi Zichen's mind. It clearly recorded all of the geographical divisions of planet Whitemark. What's the red dot on it? The active area of ferocious beasts, Bailey chuckled. I just hacked the network of the organizer of the knockout competition. Actually, I stole this picture from him. You're really something. Yi Zichen smiled. If any of you don't agree, Laozi told you to punch me to vent your anger. Of course, just one punch. I'm going to get angry if you punch me more than that. The bearded man reached out his finger. And the most important thing. Suddenly, the bearded man took out a flame-like dagger. Flame saw. A king-ranked weapon. This is your reward for eliminating first place. Chapter 2486. Damn it. Why did Big Beard say something so annoying? It was all because of this weapon. King-ranked. That was a king-ranked weapon. How could such a weapon be given out in such a small elimination round? How could he maintain his composure? Everyone who had come to participate in the elimination round was stunned. King-ranked? How was that possible? Mr. Referee, you weren't wrong, right? The reward for first place is a king-ranked dagger. Someone in the crowd asked in a trembling voice. Are you doubting my memory? Big Beard looked like he wanted to eat someone up. King-ranked really is king-ranked. You guys are so lucky to get a weapon of this level in the first elimination round. Whoosh. The crowd was instantly in an uproar. A king-ranked weapon. Weapons of this level were sometimes impossible to buy. Its value couldn't even be measured with money. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. He hadn't expected the tournament's benefits to be so good. They actually gave out such a weapon as a reward. It was just a pity. Yi Zichen used a sword. He didn't like short weapons like daggers. Of all the people he knew, Baifeng was the only one who liked to use daggers, but she wielded primordial divine artifacts. She probably didn't care for a king-ranked weapon. I'll just sell it. Yi Zichen rubbed his chin. The way he saw it, the dagger was already his. At this moment, Big Beardy suddenly covered his ears, but soon he grinned again. Sorry, everyone. There was a small problem just now. This weapon isn't the reward for first place. It's the reward for first place. The crowd's expressions didn't change at all. The one who survived to the end would definitely be first, and the one who was first would definitely be the one who survived to the end. There was no difference between the two. All right. I hereby announce the start of the first elimination round of the Tournament of Geniuses. Good luck. I hope all of you can come out alive. Now, according to the ranking, start the random teleportation. When I call out your name, Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen never would have guessed that he would be the first name Big Beard called out. Under the gaze of countless people, Yi Zichen silently walked forward. All right, start the teleportation. He's the only one teleporting? Someone in the crowd shouted. Then how many points does he have to get before us? It's not fair at all. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Big Beardy pointed at the man shouting in the crowd. If you think it's unfair, then scram. With your 6th stage star cultivation, you'll only get the lowest allowance in the cannon fodder territory. If I let you go first, do you think you can win? You want to talk about fairness with me? There are many unfair things in the universe. Let me tell you, if I say it's fair, then it's fair. If it's not fair, then it's not fair. If you don't agree, then leave. Don't yell at me. Big Beard's words silenced the entire contestants. Looking at the contestants who no longer dared to argue, Big Beardy curled his lips. Transfer. Instantly, the space around Yi Zichen flickered, and in less than half a second, he disappeared from everyone's line of sight. Not long after he disappeared, Whisper. Big Beardy called out another name. Soon after, the white-clothed woman also walked up to him. Transfer. Next, Karama. What kind of stupid name is that? When you go back, tell your family to change it. Big Beardy retorted. At the same time, a masked man in black at the back of the crowd nodded towards the others, then walked towards the transfer area. Don't say that other people's names are bad if you don't know anything. Karama means death god. If you have time, read more books. Don't take your ignorance for granted. Hey you brat! Big Beardy pointed at the man in black. Fine, Lousy will remember you. Lousy will watch how you die in there. Heh! Karama laughed in disdain, then ignored the beardy man. F***CK transfer. At the same time, in Blue River Castle. Mom, it's Dad. Yi pointed at the virtual network projection in front of him. At that moment, the living room of the castle was already filled with people. Su Yen and company sat on the sofa. The great sage and Yang Jian just sat on the floor and stared straight ahead. It was a live broadcast. Bai Yin had helped them find out about the live broadcast. Su Yen and company had just entered the universe, so they weren't very clear about the operation of many of the equipment in the universe. The Genius Tournament was a grand event in the human universe. Before the elimination round began, the virtual network had already started broadcasting. Su Yen and company locked onto Yi Zichen's competition area. He found Yi Zichen and locked onto him. After locking onto the screen, Bai Yin hurried up to the second floor to check on Bai Yu's condition. Yi Zi should be fine. Yang Jian muttered. Isn't that obvious? The great sage pursed his lips. Didn't you see that the teleportation just now was based on strength? Isn't the fact that Yi was the first to be teleported enough to prove something? With Ye's strength, beating up a bunch of salted fish would be a piece of cake. Let's not talk about anything else. Both of us would be able to get into the top 500. That's right. Yang Jian nodded heavily. But he will also become the target of public criticism. Li Jia frowned and pursed her lips as she hugged her daughter. Everyone knows that he's the first to come in, and everyone naturally thinks that he has the most points, so there will definitely be many people looking for trouble with him. What are you afraid of? Do you think Yi Zi would be afraid of those salted fish? But he can't replenish his energy. Li Jia pointed at the top of the virtual network. Look, didn't it say that this area is a sealed area, so there's no way to absorb cosmic power to replenish it? Even if he uses up 1/10,000th of his cosmic power against those opponents, it's still pure exhaustion that can't be replenished. His cosmic power definitely won't be able to hold up if he continuously uses up his energy. F***CK. How can it be like this? The great sage glared angrily. I feel like Yi Zi should find a place to hide and come out later on. Li Jia said. But it's all sand around us, there's no cover at all. Lu Jing said. Yeah. Li Jia also nodded dejectedly. Zichenji. Xia Kiki bit her lips and clenched her fists. None of them hoped for Yi Zichen to get any sort of results. They merely hoped that Yi Zichen could come back alive. Zichen. Su Yan also clenched her fists silently and prayed in her heart. For some reason, her heart raced, and she had a bad feeling about it. Chapter 2487. That Mu Mai. He still has such a bad taste. In a spacious hall, a middle-aged man dressed in a silver robe shook his head with a smile as he looked at the image projected on the screen. He's always like this. At this moment, there was a skinny expert from the monkey race in the hall. He sat on the sofa with his back hunched and was also staring at the projection. He's a marquis, but he has to pretend to be a universe level 3. As for Mu Mai, he was the examiner of Yi Zichen's examination area. Mu Mai. He belonged to the Virtual World Corporation. Marquis. Actually, this wasn't anything to be surprised about. As an examiner, a universe level 3 wasn't very realistic. If he wasn't strong enough, he wouldn't have been able to become an examiner. It should be noted that there were many titled battle pet warriors around the test area, even among the rescue workers. There were many warlords and commanders. If they were to be supervised by a universe level 3, they would be proud. Experts and sovereigns were all experts. If Mu Mai wasn't strong enough, they would be the first to object. It's just that this time, the rewards for the elimination round are a bit too ridiculous. The silver-robed, middle-aged man frowned. A king-ranked weapon. In the past, weapons of this level could only be obtained in the final round, where the top 10 contenders would compete for the top 10 out of 10,000. This time, it was taken out in the first round. It was indeed a bit shocking. How can we understand the intentions of the higher-ups? The monkey expert acted very calmly. He didn't exclaim or sigh. It was as if he didn't have any emotions at all. You're really boring. The silver-robed, middle-aged man shook his head. I can't think of anything else right now, the monkey expert said calmly. The expert from the monkey race said calmly, for this contest, our group will send out the 2 of us. This is a responsibility and also a signal. What signal? This time's tournament is definitely different from the past, the monkey expert frowned. The expert from the monkey race frowned. Have you ever seen our organization sending 2 overlords to watch over a tournament? Combined with the series of actions of the leader during this period of time. You're right. The silver-robed, middle-aged man nodded with a smile. Let's not talk about that. If there really is a problem, the 2 of us can still handle it. Actually, I think it's time for the 2 of us to do something. Otherwise, if we stay in the company for the rest of our lives, our bones will rust. Then why don't you just go to the outer realm? Bickering, right? The silver-robed man pretended to be angry. I really shouldn't have cooperated with you. It's too infuriating. Come to think of it, there are a few good seedlings in this assessment. There are a few. Who do you think will win? The silver-robed, middle-aged man tilted his head. The eyes of the skinny monkey expert sank slightly. Are you referring to the entire assessment area or just this one? Here it is. The silver-robed middle-aged man laughed. Language. Almost without any hesitation, the skinny monkey expert gave his answer. There is no doubt about it. You and I both know very well where this language came from. You're really direct. The silver-robed man shrugged. Don't you think Kurama will win? He was known as the Grim Reaper. If his subordinates didn't have some ability, they wouldn't dare to use such a name. And then there's that Yizichin. Did you forget who's backing him? Kurama. I don't really like him. That's true. You don't like that kind of sinister fellow. The silver-robed man seemed to understand the monkey expert very well. Then what did Yizichin say? His sudden appearance was too sudden. We can wait and see. Just wait and see? The silver-robed man seemed surprised by the monkey expert's attitude. You're being too conservative. Given his strength, getting into the top 3 shouldn't be a problem at all. Planet Netherworld's assessment area. Although there were quite a few examinees, the sudden appearance of several Universe Stage 9 experts was a pleasant surprise. But in the silver-robed man's eyes, Yizichin was fairly strong. Look at the way Mu Mai called for people. He also thinks highly of Yizichin. So what? Said the monkey expert. I'm just comparing him to the rest of the universe. His meager strength really isn't worth paying attention to. Also, first place doesn't mean failure. Third and second place are just closer to failure. The silver-robed man's expression darkened. Of course, it wasn't that he didn't understand the monkey expert's thoughts. He knew very well why this person placed so much importance on first place. Back then, they were in the same batch of people who participated in the Genius Tournament. This monkey expert had always been ranked second, and the ones above him had always been the elites of the human race. After entering the universe, he should have shone brightly, but he was completely suppressed by that human genius. He was clearly extremely talented, but yet no one paid any attention to him. He had always been brooding over this. In order to break through the barrier of human geniuses, he didn't hesitate to give up his position in the Virtual World Corporation and his right to manage a universe nation, and went into seclusion to cultivate. Unfortunately, after he came out, that human genius was killed by the outsiders while he was carrying out his mission. He no longer had any way to prove himself. Although the humans later saw his brilliance, there were always those who believed that he only got his turn after that human genius died. How many years has it been? Why are you still brooding over it? According to what you said, I was ranked 300 back then, but I'm still an overlord now. Where is that top genius now? Living is the most important thing. No matter how dazzling he was, it's still a pity. That's why living is more important. The monkey expert didn't show much emotion. The expert of the monkey race did not show too much emotion. But at the very least, his entire life was filled with brilliance. If he were still alive, his achievements would definitely be higher than yours. What about you? He might not be able to beat me. The monkey expert's eyes flashed. The eyes of the monkey race expert flickered. Also, even though you're an overlord, your strength isn't very strong amongst the other overlords. You can't even beat a few sovereigns, right? For example, Ling Feng. You care so much about that Yizichin, is it because Ling Feng beat him up last time? The silver-robed man suddenly threw the crystal cup on the ground angrily, then walked out. I'm going to apply. I'm not going to work with you anymore. Don't ever send me a message for the rest of your life. Oh. The monkey expert nodded silently. I never did either. You were the one who sent me messages. The silver-robed man turned around and glanced at the monkey expert. Where's my blade? From the start to the end, the expert of the monkey clan just sat on the sofa without any expression on his face. All he could think about was the silver-robed man's words. Living is the most important thing. No matter how dazzling you are, it's still a pity if you die. Chapter 2488. Not even half a minute later, the silver-robed middle-aged man, who impulsively asked for a saber, silently returned to the sofa in the living room. Aren't you going to leave? I'm afraid that you'll shut yourself up if I leave. The silver-robed middle-aged man glared at the monkey expert. I can't bear to part with the wine here. Isn't this wine nice? I'll bring more for you next time. At least you're saying something reasonable. A smile finally appeared on the silver-robed middle-aged man's face. No matter what, the two of them had been friends for several 100,000 years. Their friendship was very deep. Suddenly, the expression of the monkey expert on the sofa darkened. What is it? Why is this examination ground a level 2 world? The monkey expert pointed at the projection. A level 2 world. Among the human races in the universe, the places that humans normally lived in were all level 1 world. A level 2 world meant that it was a separate space within a level 1 world. There were all sorts of laws within, and it was basically no different from a level 1 world. The only difference was that there was no cosmic energy here. Cosmic energy was self-produced by the universe, so it could not be artificially produced. If it could be artificially produced, then humans would be able to easily obtain experts above the sovereign level. As long as they had enough cosmic energy. A level 2 world. The silver-robed middle-aged man also looked at the projection. What's so strange about that? Isn't it just a level 2 world? Why are you so surprised? Only this place is a level 2 world. The monkey expert said. Are you sure? The silver-robed middle-aged man frowned. I already told my photon computer to confirm it for me. This is the only place where the examination is held in a level 2 world. The monkey expert frowned. As soon as he finished speaking, the two overlord-class almighties looked at each other in confusion. Actually, this sort of situation wasn't worth their attention at all. It was just that the situation in the universe was rather complicated, and they were sent here to pay attention to the situation of the fight between geniuses. They had to pay attention to any sort of abnormality. I'll go ask the higher-ups. With that, the silver-robed middle-aged man's consciousness entered the virtual network. The monkey expert also frowned and stared at the projection without saying anything. Yellow sand filled the sky. Yi Zichen, who was still on planet Whitemark just a second ago, arrived in the middle of a desert in the next. So heavy. The moment he landed, Yi Zichen couldn't help but frown, while his legs were slightly bent from the pressure. The gravity here was ridiculously high. He wasn't used to being here all of a sudden. According to the information I stole. At this moment, Bailey appeared and said solemnly, the gravity here is 3,000 times the average of the universe. No wonder. Yi Zichen stood on the spot for around 10 minutes. Only then did he slightly adapt to the gravity here, but walking was still a little difficult. He had never undergone systematic gravity training. This sudden situation was rather difficult for him to deal with. I wonder where the others were teleported to. The entire desert was boundless, and a strong sense of loneliness lingered in his heart. Do you want to meet other people? Bailey curled his lips. In the early stages, it's better if we don't bump into anyone. That bearded man doesn't like you, so he called you in first. He's obviously looking for trouble. Maybe he's a little petty. Yi Zichen guessed that the bearded man did that most likely because of the question he asked when he received his identity medallion. Otherwise, there was no need to call him, right? There were so many people. Can't I call anyone? Great, now I've become everyone's target. Anyone who sees me would think that I'm delicious, and a target with a huge amount of points. Fortunately, Yi Zichen was rather confident in his own strength. With his level 9 universe-level aura, he was able to suppress some of the nobodies to a certain extent. If anyone wants to take my points, they have to think about themselves first. Bailey, how far is this desert? Don't I like it here? Is there any land in the examination area? Yi Zichen looked at the surrounding desert. I keep feeling like there's danger hidden here. Let's go to land, it'll be easier for me to move around that way. During that time, Yizichin also touched the sand on the ground. It's very heavy. These grains of sand were like golden sand, giving people a heavy feeling when placed in their hand. Furthermore, it might be due to the gravity. When his hand passed through the desert, he could feel a lot of resistance. "Hey Bailey! Look, this sand seems to be gold." As he spoke, an enlarged map appeared in front of Yizichin. "Take a look," Bailey said. "This examination area is pretty much all desert, there's very little land. If you want to go to land..." Then, a red coordinate appeared in front of Yizichin. "This is our current location." "Oh yeah, you're not wrong to say that the sand is gold. This desert is called the Golden Desert. If you want to go to land, see how far you need to go." When the red dot appeared, Yizichin's expression couldn't help but darken. He was currently in the center of the desert. If he wanted to go to land, he needed to cross half of the desert. The entire map, 80% of it was desert, 10% was land, and the rest was the ocean. "I really suspect that the bearded man is messing with me on purpose." "Ha ha ha, that's for sure," Bailey laughed with schadenfreude. Bailey laughed gloatingly. "But it could also be that you're unlucky. Who can say for sure?" "I'm still going to go to land," Yizichin pondered for a moment. "No matter what, I don't want to stay in this sort of shitty place. What's more, the desert is too exposed, it's not very beneficial for me." "You're right to think that way." Bailey nodded. "Bailey, then I'll have to trouble you to scout the surroundings." Yizichin slowly lifted his foot. At that moment, he truly suspected that if it wasn't for the fact that he had the rune stone to increase his genetic power, he might have been crushed to the ground by the gravity. "Leave it to me," Bailey smiled. Bailey said with a smile. In less than half a minute, an ugly smile suddenly appeared on his face. "Yeezy. What is it? If I say that we're being targeted by huge trouble, would you feel excited?" "Ah!" Yizichin tilted his head. At that very moment, a lizard over 10-odd meters tall suddenly appeared in front of him. F***CKU. Are you trying to kill me? Chapter 2489. It was a lizard several tens of meters tall. It appeared less than 1,000 meters in front of Yizichin. Anyone would be frightened by the sudden appearance of this huge monster from the desert. Run. There was no need to hesitate at all. Before Yizichin confirmed his opponent's strength, he wouldn't do anything risky to attack. Humans would always unleash their limitless potential in times of danger. Before the lizard came out, Yizichin was already struggling to walk through the Golden Desert. Based on his slow speed, it might take him several years to walk out of the desert. That's great. Yizichin ran as fast as he could, as if he were on wheels of fire and wind. The moment it saw Yizichin, the lizard locked onto him and charged over with bloodshot eyes. It was obvious from its actions. The ferocious beast in front of him was a ferocious beast. Ferocious beast, Yao, spiritual beast, divine beast. That was how humans defined non-humans. Spiritual beasts and divine beasts. They were beasts that possessed the intelligence of humans. For example, the phoenix race and the dragon race. Yao had a certain level of intelligence, but they were generally low in intelligence. As for ferocious beasts, Yizichin had come into contact with them the most. The number of ferocious beasts he had killed in the second universe was more than 6-digit. Ferocious beasts had no intelligence at all. They were fierce, cruel, and bloodthirsty. Their hearts were completely dominated by the desire to kill. In their eyes, anyone who wasn't of the same race would become their target. The lizard in front of him was completely acting on its instincts as a ferocious beast. Its goal was to kill the invader, Yizichin. "I told you this place was weird. Who can handle a ferocious beast suddenly appearing in the desert?" Yizichin didn't stop muttering as he ran. However, as a native ferocious beast of the Golden Desert, the lizard's speed was much higher than his. Even though Yizichin was already using all his strength, the lizard still chased after him relentlessly, and the distance between them continued to shorten. Bailey. How is it? Yi Zichen urged with a frown. He had already told Bailey to analyze the ferocious beast's situation the moment he started running. I'm still looking. Why haven't you found it yet? We're not on planet Whitemark, just search for it, Yi Zichen said. No. Bailey answered with a frown. There are no xenogeneic races other than the human race on planet White Ming. I have already started searching on the big network. Wait a little longer. Why don't you fight him? You're at the universe level 9 anyway. Why are you afraid of it? You're really interesting. How can I be afraid of it? Yi Zichen snickered. This is a strategic retreat. If you say that, then I'll fight him a bit. Hurry up. With that, Yi Zichen stopped in his tracks. A long sword appeared in his hand. This longsword was one of the few admiral-grade weapons he had obtained in the second universe. As for the commander-in-chief rank, he gave it to his precious son. It's best not to use our trump cards if we can. This kind of elimination competition will definitely be broadcasted to the entire universe. Regardless of whether it's the 5 elements elemental spirits or the divine sword, it'll be over if we expose it. Yi Zichen muttered to himself. Up until now, what he had revealed was his ability to control several types of elements. But the elemental spirits had not been exposed yet. Although, some people might have already guessed in this direction, but before he truly showed himself, it couldn't be considered conclusive evidence. But if he did, then everyone in the universe would know. He was the seed left behind by the Master of the Galaxy. As for the divine sword, there was no need to even mention it. The god race had been completely exterminated by the human race. Even now, the human race was still hunting the god race. If his identity as a god race was exposed, that would be even more terrifying than the Master of the Galaxy's elemental spirits. The best thing to do was to kill the lizard in front of him using the power of the universe. That would save him a lot of trouble. Yi Zichen gripped the hilt of his sword tightly. Yi Zichen stood silently on the spot and watched the huge creature get closer and closer to him. Mommy, is Daddy going to fight this monster? Yi reached out his hand with curiosity in his castle on Blue River. Yeah, Daddy is going to fight the monster, Xia Kiki forced a smile. Xia Kiki forced a smile on her face. Little did she know, her heart was already hanging by a thread. Everyone else also had a solemn expression. Monkey, this lizard doesn't look like it's going to be easy to deal with. Yang Jian squinted his eyes and muttered as he looked at the projection. Although he hadn't been in the desert, his many years of battle experience and intuition told him that the lizard would definitely be a troublesome opponent. It does seem so, the great sage nodded. But it shouldn't be a problem with us brothers' abilities. Go Daddy. At that moment Yi waved his hand and shouted. With that, the babies in the room all started to shout at the screen. Go Daddy. Yi Zichen naturally did not know that his babies were cheering him on in front of the screen. If he did, his battle prowess would have increased by several times. At that moment, he had already completely focused on the lizard. 200 meters, 100 meters, 50 meters, 30 meters. Yi Zichen calculated the distance between him and the lizard, and tightened his grip on his sword. Until 10 meters. You're dead. He swung his sword. The moment Yi Zichen swung his sword, a surge of sword intent and the power of the universe surrounded his sword. A strand of sword energy landed on the golden sand, causing the sand in the desert to dance wildly. Roar! When the lizard saw that its target was right in front of it, it swung its claws down towards Yi Zichen. It's over. Yi Zichen turned his wrist, and several streaks of white sword light landed on the lizard. Before the lizard's paw could land, it was sliced in half. At the same time, its entire body was enveloped by the sword light, causing it to turn into countless specks of golden sand that fell onto the desert. Yay! Daddy won! Yi waved his fist with a smile. Xia Kiki and the others also let out a sigh of relief. However, Yang Jian and the great sage continued to frown. It was too easy. From their point of view, the lizard died way too easily. Sand beast. A body formed from golden sand? Yi Zichen frowned as he looked at the golden sand that fell onto the ground. However, he didn't think too much about it. It was fine as long as it was dealt with. It seems like I was being too cautious. No matter what, I'm still a universe stage 9, so dealing with this sort of beast is a piece of cake. However, for some reason, Yi Zichen felt that it was a bit strange. He still felt that the lizard died way too easily. What's more, I didn't even see its energy crystal core when I killed it. F***ck. No way. Just as Yi Zichen hesitated, the slain lizard reformed in the desert. Furthermore, it seemed to be much larger than before. Bailey, did you find it yet? I'm going to be annoyed to death by this guy. Chapter 2490. Within a pitch-black planet. White Mark was the middle of the day, but this life planet felt like it was night without any light. The entire planet was pitch black. This could no longer be considered a life planet. For humans, a planet without light was unsuitable for survival. Within such a planet, lock onto White Mark's examination area. Lock onto participant Yi Zichen. Retreat. Within a dark room. The only source of light in the room was the virtual network projection. A black-robed elder sat in front of the projection. There was also a blacklight sword in front of him. The attendant in the room followed his orders and locked onto Yi Zichen on White Mark. On the screen was the moment when Yi Zichen killed the lizard. Replay it again. Replay it again. Replay it again. The elder in the room had already replayed the scene over 100 times in less than 2 seconds. I.e., what do you think? As soon as the old man's voice fell, the attendant followed up. He's a talent with potential. His sword intent is pretty good, but I can tell that he's unorthodox. That's right. The elder nodded. Teacher, think about it. He's not qualified enough, the elder shook his head. How about this, go and arrange for us to give him our entry-level sword technique. Pay attention to him after that. But teacher, I hesitated for a moment. It was obvious that he wanted to say something. Speak. This person might very well be the descendant of the Milky Way Master, Star Lord Sangyu. What does that have to do with me? The elder's gaze did not change at all. I feel like he's a talent with potential in the way of the sword. I don't want to waste his talent, so what's wrong with giving him an entry-level sword technique? If Songyue wants to cause trouble for me, then just let her come. Am I afraid of her? I understand. Ai nodded. Oh yeah, just give him the first one, there's no need to give too much, the elder added. Young man, don't bite off more than you can chew. Just give him the first one and treat it as an introduction. Understood. Hearing that, Ai left the room. The elder also turned off the virtual network projection. The feeling of darkness is still the best. Unbeknownst to them, not long before the old man turned off the holographic projection, a voice suddenly rang out. Grandfather! In the bright living room, a girl with bright eyes and white teeth pointed at the virtual projection with her long silver hair swaying behind her back. Look! On the second floor of the living room, a hale and hearty old man slowly walked down. He looked at the girl with a smile, and his eyes were filled with love that could not be expressed in words. What's wrong? Grandpa, look. The girl pointed at the projection, which was also the scene of Yi Zichen killing the lizard. Golden sand lizard. What are you looking at? An extraterrestrial projection? What? The young girl frowned. This is the elimination tournament for the competition of geniuses. Grandpa, can't you be a bit more concerned about this? It's been another 1,000 years. The old man smiled and looked at the image inside. Why are you showing me this? Which family is this genius from? Why is our baby so concerned about him? When you have time, bring it back for Grandpa to see. You're not young anymore. Grandpa won't object to you. Grandpa. The girl frowned angrily. What exactly are you talking about? If you don't speak properly, then I'm not going to stay here with you anymore. Don't. I'll see, all right? Only then did the old man start to look seriously at the image on the screen. A Level 2 world. Why is the examination held in a Level 2 world this time? This golden sand lizard is also a ferocious beast from the outside world. Why did the Virtual World Corporation let it out? That's not important. Look at the way he used the sword. What's wrong? Isn't he just a layman? The old man glanced at her. I'm telling you, you can't learn from him. Look at the way he used the sword just now. It's wrong. Not only did he waste energy, the power he released was also quite pitiful. Also, look at him. He clearly didn't do his homework. Physical attacks are actually useless against the golden sand lizard. Sand beasts can't be killed. He cut the golden sand lizard into so many pieces, and countless more golden sand lizards will be born soon. He's just seeking his own death. I'm leaving, I'm going to find my dad. The girl waved her hand, grabbed a silver longsword from the table, and was about to leave. Where are you going? The old man grabbed the girl's arm. Aren't I already analyzing it seriously and telling you about the characteristics of the golden sand lizard? Why are you running over to your dad's place? Is the sword your dad uses better than mine? You're doing it on purpose. The girl frowned. How am I doing it on purpose, my little princess? The old man walked in front of the girl with a chuckle. Look, just say whatever you want to say. Grandpa doesn't know what you want me to see. Don't you think that this is a talent with potential? At that moment, the girl tilted her head and pointed at Yi Zichen, who killed the golden sand lizard. Even though he's an amateur. But to be able to use an amateur to this extent, don't you think that he's very talented in the way of the sword? He's just SOSO, the old man glanced at her. The old man glanced at her and felt that the young girl was a little unhappy. He smiled and explained, Hey, Grandpa is speaking the truth. Your grandpa has seen too many geniuses in the sword Tao. Let's not talk about others like him. Which of my disciples is inferior to him in the sword Tao? People like him are at most above average. They aren't that amazing. Alright. This time, the girl didn't argue. She also knew that her grandpa was speaking the truth. She had wanted to get credit from her grandpa for finding a decent talent with the sword. You think very highly of him? The old man smiled. Not really, I just think that he's pretty good. The girl hesitated for a moment. What's more, he's always been an amateur, so I think that he's rather pitiful. Silly girl, an amateur isn't pitiful. Only an amateur has limitless possibilities. Think about it. Before the way of the sword is formed, who didn't find their way bit by bit through an amateur? But if there's a system of learning, then wouldn't you be able to avoid a lot of detours? The girl looked up. Grandpa, how about you take him as your disciple? What are you talking about? How many years has it been since I last took in a disciple? The old man opened his eyes wide and looked at the girl in shock. Little princess, Grandpa knows that you're kind. But, if Grandpa takes him as a disciple, then wouldn't the seniority in the universe be messed up? Then he's really not bad. He is, don't worry, even if we ignore him, there's someone who is willing to take care of this sort of thing. Who? Your Grandpa He. He loves to take care of these grassroots, the old man smiled. Don't worry, your Grandpa He might have already told Ai to make arrangements. Go and ask if you don't believe me. Chapter 2491. Hearing this, the girl entered the virtual network. In less than half a minute. Grandpa, how did you know? The girl's eyes were filled with surprise. I contacted Brother Ai just now, and he said that Grandpa He really did send someone. He also reminded me not to call him Big Brother, saying that he's my junior. How could he be my junior? You should think about whose granddaughter you are. The old man stroked the girl's head lovingly. Since your Grandpa He is in charge, then let's not bother. Also, my little princess, don't try to drag anyone who uses a sword into our family. We have enough people in our family. Ouch! The young girl pouted as if she had been wronged. Alright, practice your sword well. You've also signed up for the genius competition, right? When will it be your turn? I went straight to the last round. Grandpa, you really don't care too much about me. The girl curled her lips. I'm old. I don't have much energy left. As soon as he finished speaking, the old man sat in his seat and looked at the projection. They were good seedlings. He had recognized it at first glance, but he didn't want to fight with his old friend. He was very clear that this kind of unorthodox method was exactly what his old friend wanted. It was just that this silly kid didn't seem to recognize the golden sand lizard and didn't know how to deal with it. What is this octagonal table thinking? Placing the ferocious beasts from the outer realms here, is this some sort of signal? Elo! Who knew how many times it had been killed? The lizards that Yizichin had already killed suddenly crawled out of the golden desert once more, and their numbers only increased. Yizichin frowned. After killing them a few times, he also started to notice the abnormality of the lizard. This lizard had the ability to split. No matter how many times Yizichin cut him into pieces, he'd just split up. Yizichin no longer dared to attack rashly. At this moment, more than 30 lizards were chasing after him. It was naturally no problem for Yizichin to take care of them. However, if there were more of them, then he wouldn't have a good time being surrounded by them. More importantly, cosmic energy could not be restored here. What the hell is this place? At first, Yizichin didn't pay much attention. It wasn't until he'd used up about 10% of his cosmic energy that he realized he couldn't replenish it. There was no cosmic energy in this assessment area. Bell! Yizichin couldn't help but shout, followed by dozens of golden sand lizards. All right. Found it. At that moment, Bailey, who stood on Yizichin's shoulder, shouted excitedly. Hurry up and say it. This is a golden sand lizard from the outer realms. An adult golden sand lizard has the strength of a king-ranked martial artist and above. According to its size, the lizard we are facing should be around the universe grade. That's not important. Tell me how to kill him. Use water. Bailey spoke. Water? Yizichin raised his eyebrows while Bailey also nodded. Yeah, they're afraid of water. The water can seal their movements and then we can kill them. Understood. Yizichin nodded, then shouted into his sea of consciousness. Little water. I've been preparing for a long time. The water elemental sprite laughed loudly in Yizichin's sea of consciousness, then said rather proudly, Did you guys see that? My performance. Were you up to it? That Laowu is the one who releases the lightning. Aren't you good at it? Come, kill them. Stop showing off, Yizichin said in his sea of consciousness. Yizichin said, Hurry up and bring me some. You don't want ice? I want water. Yizichin was about to go crazy. He was being chased around by the lizards, but none of the elemental sprites were in a hurry at all. Only little Sister Wind was sensible enough to cast a wind escape technique on him. No problem, water's coming. All of a sudden, a heavy downpour descended from the sky. The moment the rain fell, the entire golden desert seemed to solidify. The bodies of the golden sand lizards also gradually solidified, leaving behind a thick shell on their bodies. Heh! Now it's my turn, right? Yizichin raised his sword high. A surge of energy gathered on the blade. Slash! Instantly, the sword flashed. 30-odd golden sand lizards were instantly reduced to dust. Come, give me some more. Yizichin let out a sigh of relief when he saw all 30-odd lizards turn to dust. These few hours, I'm really going to explode from being chased by these lizards. Yizichin took a look at the leaderboard. Yizichin, 3,700. According to the universe level's 100 points, all the golden sand lizards I killed just now have become my point. I wonder what's going on with the others. That's very inhumane. If Yizichin could see the other people's points, then he would be able to save a lot of trouble as long as he didn't show himself on the leaderboard. It was precisely because he couldn't see it that many people thought that he had a high score. What a headache! Yi Zichen couldn't help but sigh, while Bailey's face was filled with excitement. AI. Since we know the way to deal with it now, let's go and find another one. Let's split up a bit more and get more points. No. Yi Zichen shook his head. Let's hurry to land. I don't want to stay in this sort of shitty place. Also, this examination area is very strange. Can't you feel that there's no universal energy? I'm a photon computer. How can I feel it? Bailey rolled his eyes. That's true, Yi Zichen smiled. There's no universal energy here, so it can't be recovered after we use it up. Let's not use it too much, otherwise it'll be troublesome if we use it all up. What's more, this bit of points isn't very useful. Everyone will have more than 1,000,000 points in the later stages, so we just need to find people. Hee. You're really something, Bailey smiled. Bailey grinned. I think your idea is pretty good. Right? That's the idea of a genius. Yi Zichen cracked his neck. Yi Zichen stretched his neck, then had Sisfong buff him with wind escape, before running towards the outside of the desert. It's this cosmic energy. It really is a huge problem. There should be a way to resupply, right? Bailey asked. How? There's no universal energy here at all, Yi Zichen shrugged. Yi Zichen shrugged. Bailey rolled his eyes once again. I'm just saying. How would I know if you ask me? Do you want me to hack into those managers' heads? Actually, it's not impossible. Yi Zichen joked. Alright, I'll go and try. After waiting for half a minute, Bailey said, I've succeeded. I know how to get universal energy now. Ha! Yi Zichen glared at Bailey. What are you talking about? I've heard of the black web. Black brains. What kind of black technology is that? Can any deity explain it? Chapter 2492. Stop messing around. Since Bailey was still in the mood to joke around at a time like this, it was clear that he was rather relaxed. Yi Zichen didn't mind this sort of relaxed atmosphere. However, it wasn't time for him to relax yet, so he had to stay alert. I'm serious. I already know how to recover the energy of the universe. Bailey smiled proudly. Yi Zichen looked at him in shock, then immediately logged onto the virtual network, and saw that an email had appeared in his inbox. A mail came. Ha ha ha, you found out, Bailey smiled. Bailey laughed. Yes, it's such a coincidence that I received an email right after you said that. I was still thinking of bluffing you, but I didn't expect you to react so quickly. Do you think I'm retarded? Hacking into other people's brains was a soul technique. What's more, it required close contact. If Yi Zichen really believed it, he could consider changing his brain. Yi Zichen opened the mail. The contents of the email were specially designed for the participants of the White Ming Planet's assessment area. What's written here? A Level 2 world. A closed-off world. The interior contains complete cosmic elements, but does not contain any cosmic energy. An energy supply box will be provided in the world. Actually, the most important thing is this death storm. Yi Zichen frowned as he looked at the details of the death storm. The death storm will shrink the range of the safe zone. Being outside the safe zone will continuously consume cosmic energy. No matter if one hides underground or in the air, they will be swallowed by the storm. Most of them will die, and the chances of survival are very small. The air within the death storm is chaotic. It is very difficult to move around inside, and it will continuously consume cosmic energy. When the energy cannot be replenished, the energy will be used up, and the person will die inside. Yi Zichen looked at the important content of the mail. What Yi Zichen paid attention to was the death storm. It might very well be a chance to eliminate a large number of participants, and might even cause them to die. This was because if anyone fell into the death storm, even the staff outside wouldn't dare to easily enter the interior. Actually, I think this is pretty good. Bailey looked at the mail for a while, and after some consideration, he nodded. The dimensions of the second-level worlds are huge, and there are still more than 24 million people in our region's assessment. In the early stages, there might be a lot of people, and people could still interact with each other. If the number of people decreased, if there were only a dozen people left, then how would they eliminate the others? The world is so big, it's impossible to find it. You're right. Yizichin nodded as well. From the looks of it, this sort of system was reasonable. It's this death storm. The email didn't explain in detail what it looked like. As for the supply box, there's no clear information on it either. You'll know when you meet him. Bailey squinted his eyes, then whispered into Yizichin's ear. I don't know what the supply crate looks like, but I have a rough idea of a death storm. Why? Look. Suddenly, Bailey pointed at the death tornado in front of him that looked like it was the end of the world. Do you think that's a death tornado? Holy shit. Why didn't you say so earlier? Yizichin's journey had been full of twists and turns. As soon as he entered the Golden Desert, he had encountered the golden sand lizards. Fortunately, he had a water elemental sprite, which allowed him to escape. It had not even been half an hour. He had not even caught his breath. The death storm had arrived. Lousy is so King pathetic. Even Yizichin couldn't help but curse as he ran out of the death storm. The email stated very clearly, the only way to survive a death storm was to run. As long as you ran fast enough, the storm wouldn't threaten your life. Help! Help! At that moment, someone seemed to shout in the distance. Hearing that, Yizichin looked over and saw that there were already other humans in the desert. He didn't know how long they'd been there for, whether they'd just been teleported, or if they'd been here for a while. What they had in common was that they were all facing the death storm that was about to devour them. Save me, I don't want to die. Someone was wailing in pain and had already crushed his name tag. However, in this situation, no staff appeared at all. Yizichin saw with his own eyes that he couldn't outrun the storm. He was devoured. He didn't break out of it again. Save me. Another person's body was torn to shreds the instant the storm swallowed him up. His flesh and bones were churned up as if by a meat grinder. The scene was nauseating. He was swallowed up as well. F***ck. Yizichin's scalp instantly went numb. That person died just like that? Given their previous experiences, Yizichin didn't dare underestimate the death storm in the slightest. Sister Feng used her wind escape technique to strengthen Yizichin. In the face of death, anyone's potential would be squeezed out to the fullest. No one wanted to die. Everyone wanted to live. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. The death storm continued to wreak havoc. Without actual contact, it was actually very difficult to directly understand the true meaning of the content just by looking at the content on the email. For example, the death storm Yizichin had encountered earlier. During this time, he'd been constantly contending with the death storm in order to obtain the most beneficial information. Through this period of interaction, Yizichin could roughly conclude that the death storm wasn't moving very quickly. So long as you were at least in the 6th level of the galaxy, you could keep up. It wasn't as if the death storm was ceaselessly shrinking. Under normal circumstances, it would shrink for a period of time before remaining motionless. In a safe zone where the death storm had shrunk, there would be a certain number of accompanying death storms. These death storms' locations were uncertain and random, and they would disappear after wreaking havoc for a while. Worst of all, Yizichin even took the initiative to walk into the storm. The instant he entered, he was almost sucked in. If it weren't for the fact that only half his body was inside, he really might have been swallowed up by the storm. In order to escape, he'd used up a full 30% of his energy. When it comes to courting death, I really have to hand it to you. By now, Yizichin had already arrived at the land he'd been dreaming of. Bailey was telling him about how he'd entered the death storm of his own volition. Other people run away when they see the death storm, but you went in on your own accord. Do you know how dangerous it was? Yizichin really couldn't refute Bailey's accusation. But he was curious. If he didn't go in and truly feel the power of the death storm, he wouldn't feel confident. Don't you want to confirm it? Why is it that some people were pulled in, but some people were directly minced into pieces? True knowledge comes from practice. We must truly understand it before we can feel at ease. Aren't you afraid of it directly mincing half of his body? Bailey frowned and scolded angrily. Haven't we seen enough people being minced into pieces recently? You actually want to experiment in this sort of situation? I really don't understand what's going on in your head. Bailey truly felt like he was scared to death. He watched as Yizichin stood at the edge of the death storm and reached his hand into the death storm as if he was possessed. He actually reached his hand in. Bailey's voice was nearly hoarse from all the shouting. It was fortunate that nothing had happened to him, otherwise Bailey wouldn't know what to do. Don't worry, I know what to do. I paid attention to the strength and clothing of the people who were minced into pieces. Most of them were below the star system level, and they didn't seem to be body cultivators. I'm at the peak of the universe, and my body has been genetically modified. I estimate that I wouldn't die even if I stayed in there for 3 to 5 minutes. You still want to go in? Bailey pointed at Yizichin's face. You'd better wake up. We didn't come here to experiment, we came here to participate in the competition. No matter how much you experiment, we won't be able to use it after we go out. Just stay here properly. Do you understand? Who knows? Who knows, we might really encounter the death storm in the future. Before Yizichin landed, he already saw Bailey's murderous gaze. If you want to go in, then let's go our separate ways. You're getting angry? Isn't it fine if I don't go? Yizichin let out a long sigh and looked at the death storm in the distance. I really want to go in and take a look. Chapter 2493. Why can't I be angry? What you're doing right now is just messing around. As your optical computer, I have to maintain absolute rationality. I have to remind you when you do anything impulsive. What a pity. I don't think I can persuade you, so let's just break up now. Yizichin quickly calmed himself down and apologized sincerely when he felt that Bailey was truly getting emotional. I was wrong. I was wrong. Can't I just not go? I just thought about it and didn't actually go in. Can't even think about it. Bailey frowned. All right, I definitely won't. When I see that death storm in the future, I'll stay far away, all right? Yizichin smiled apologetically. Prince Bailey isn't angry anymore. That's more like it. Seeing Yizichin's sincere apology, Bailey raised his head proudly and didn't argue any further. Approximately a few minutes later, he returned to his normal expression and sent an image to Yizichin's mind. Take a look at this. What's it for? Yizichin asked as he looked at the image in his mind. It was an image similar to a map. There were many specially marked points, as well as many places circled in red. The red circles are the random locations of the storms. The yellow dots are the humans around us, the black areas are marked by ferocious beasts, and the blue dots are our own locations. There are so many people here. The entire picture was densely packed with yellow dot. You're not the only one who hates the Golden Desert, Bailey said. There are golden sand lizards in the Golden Desert. Very few people can deal with these ferocious beasts, so this is naturally a place where humans gather. Actually, we might as well just stay in the Golden Desert. We can deal with the ferocious beasts there, and we can also reduce the possibility of being discovered by humans. You're right, it's just that. I understand what you mean, Bailey said. That's why I didn't force you to stay there. Since you're already here, then don't bother about other things. Just because there are a lot of people here doesn't mean that they will dare to do anything to you. Bro. At that moment, a young man suddenly appeared in front of Yizichin. He had some impression of this person. It was the guy who invited him before he entered. I didn't expect to meet you here. It seems like we're quite fated. The young man smiled and said, I'm sorry, I wanted to invite you last time and forgot to tell you my name, Shitu. I come from the cloud map galaxy of the Blue Empire. Hello. Yi Zichen waved at the youth, then raised his eyebrows. You're not from planet Pinot? No. Shitu shook his head with a smile. Our assessment area seems to have been added later. Some of the participants from other regions were sent here because they couldn't make it in time for the registration. In this examination area, half of it is people from other galaxies or universe countries. I see. Yi Zichen nodded. Looks like you're from the Banao galaxy? Yes. Yi Zichen's attitude was still not very warm. Shitu scratched his head. It was really hard for him to invite Yi Zichen with this attitude. Did you come back to invite me? That's right. Sure, I can team up with you. Yi Zichen smiled without any hesitation. Yeah, are you sure you want to be in the same group as me? Following me is rather troublesome. It was actually quite simple for Yi Zichen to agree to this invitation. He couldn't be alone. They were all eyeing him covetously. A few people had tried to cause trouble for him earlier, but none of them posed any threat to him. In the end, they were eliminated by Yi Zichen. However, it wasted quite a bit of Yi Zichen's cosmic energy. In a world like this where there was no cosmic energy and energy was completely dependent on the supply box, wasting even a little bit of energy would have a huge impact. What's more, Yi Zichen hadn't seen any supply boxes at all. If he found a team, in that case he would be able to take a lot of pressure off of him. Ha ha, looks like Brother Yi also knows your own situation. She too laughed. Don't worry, this is not a problem for us. As long as you join us, I can guarantee that no one will dare to make a move against you. So confident? Of course. She too said proudly. A team with 2 universe level 9s. What team do you think would dare act against us? Who else in your team is at the 9th level? Then let me formally introduce you. As Shita laughed, a few people walked over from afar. Then, Yi Zichen saw the veiled woman from before. Tiger Head, Tiger Man Universe Level 3. Hello. A 2-meter-tall Tiger Man with a long scar on his face waved his hand. Ling Qiao Yen Race Level 9. Hello. The petite girl with freckles waved back. Amu, Human, Universe Level 1. Another young man nodded with Yi Zichen. Finally, our fairy sister, she too ran in front of the veiled woman with an exaggerated smile. She too ran in front of the veiled woman with an exaggerated smile. Sister, tell him yourself, you are both at the pinnacle of the universe. Language. Yi Zichen. The two of them looked at each other and nodded. She too also ran back with a grin. Finally, this humble servant She too, Human, Universe Level 5. Brother Yi, look at our team's configuration. 2 of them are at the peak of the universe, the rest are all at the universe level. Although Lil Qiao is in the 9th level of the universe, the Yen race is naturally agile and is comparable to the universe level. With a team like this, you can say that anyone who dares to cause trouble for us will die. In response, Yi Zichen nodded noncommittally. It was indeed very hard for anyone to have any ideas about the team. The others were easy to deal with. Yi Zichen was most interested in you. The peak of the universe. One had to know that there were only 6 pinnacle stage experts in their division. Even if the others had ideas about Yi Zichen, when they saw the 2 of them form a team, they would have to think twice about whether or not to cause trouble. How about this? We just need to find someone skilled in water, and can control the water element, then we can set off. Water. Yi Zichen frowned. He didn't know why, but he suddenly had a bad feeling. Yeah, we're all martial artists. Qiao knows a bit of wind, and Fairy Sister knows fire. We need to find water. The golden sand lizards in the golden desert need water to deal with them. Oh yeah, Brother Yi, are you a martial artist or… Yi Zichen's expression instantly darkened. He'd risked his life to get out of the desert, but these people wanted to go back in? Brother Yi. I'm a controller, I can use water. Yi Zichen said reluctantly. Shi-Tu's eyes lit up. Isn't that perfect? But I don't want to go back to the desert. How about you guys find someone else and I leave? Chapter 2494. Did you see that? It's fated by the heavens. Some things are already fated from the start. Yet, some people just want to defy the heavens and change their fate. See, he's back. Bailey, who was sitting on Yi Zichen's shoulder, muttered endlessly. You'd better shut up. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes in exasperation, then looked speechless. He came back again. He just left the Golden Desert, and returned to this damned place after staying on land for less than half a day. Brother Ye's photon computer is so advanced. He actually has his main body. Shi-Tu looked at Bailey, who was sitting on Yi Zichen's shoulder, with envy in his eyes. There were many types of photon computers. Some low-grade photon computers simply followed orders. Higher-grade photon computers had intelligence, which was why they were called photon computers. They could help you do some analysis and handle many things for you. High-grade photon computers were like Bailey's. They had independent thoughts and emotions. Interacting with the host was the same as communicating with a human, there was no difference. These kinds of photon computers were all rather expensive and rare. They were all relatively expensive and rare. If it was a commander who was not doing well, he or she might not even have such an optical computer. An elder gave it to me. Yi Zichen understood the rarity of these photon computers, so he found a random excuse. I can tell that Brother Ye's status in the family isn't low, Shi-Tu smiled. Shi-Tu smiled. At that moment, Linkyoer suddenly walked over and looked at Yi Zichen for a while. Ah, you're that person, right? Your older sister is a sovereign, right? When Yi Zichen mentioned a sovereign, practically everyone in the group turned around. Then, everyone seemed to have remembered and revealed a look of shock. So it really is. No wonder you're so strong, your older sister is a sovereign. Sovereign Spirit Phoenix is very famous in the human race. We're in the same group as Sovereign's little brother. Our luck is way too good. From start to finish. Yi Zichen maintained his smile, but did not reply. If he spoke up, who knew how long he would have to talk about it? Haha, alright. Although Brother Yi is Sovereign's little brother, he doesn't seem arrogant at all. We're here for the supply boxes, so let's focus on finding them. Shi-Tu quickly changed the topic when he felt that Yi Zichen was a bit uneasy from the other team members' questions. I can't see the supply box either. Her lips twitched. Let's take our time. We'll find it eventually, Shi-Tu said with a smile. Shi-Tu. At that moment, Yi Zichen hesitated for a moment before speaking up. When we got here, you told me you were going to look for the supply box. Are you sure it's in the Golden Desert? I'm not sure. Shi-Tu smiled. Yi Zichen was confused when he heard that. Shi-Tu grinned. But I reckon that there are definitely supply boxes in the Golden Desert. Brother Yi, you're late. We came out in a hurry, so we didn't have time to tell you the specifics. Actually, we didn't come out just to look for supply boxes to resupply. We're planning to monopolize the supply boxes. You guys. In truth, Yi Zichen already understood Shi-Tu's intentions the moment he finished speaking. He probably wanted to collect all the supplies in the supply box, so that the others couldn't get any. In this Level 2 world, strength wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was actually the supplies. As long as they could control the supplies, they would be able to obtain sufficient universal energy. Even for those experts, there would be times when the energy of the universe would be exhausted. When that time came, they could completely rely on the supplies to continue staying in the Golden Desert. We all received that email. Everyone knows the importance of supplies very well. There were several 100,000 people fighting over a supply box on the continent we were on before. As for the Golden Desert, no one has come. Those idiots have been paying attention to the death storm and complaining about how hard it is to deal with the ferocious beast. Since they don't dare to head towards the Golden Desert, doesn't that create an opportunity for us? Shitu's eyes were filled with smiles. As long as we have enough supplies, then we will be undefeatable. But the desert is so huge. Ling Xiao tilted her head and looked at the boundless desert. When are we going to see the supplies? None of you collected them. Suddenly, Shitu looked at the others with a strange expression. After the email was sent, a map was added to our virtual network. After collecting the map, we can see the location of the supply box, the shrinking range of the death storm, and the random storm zone. None of you collected them? When Shitu's words subsided, everyone in the group looked at him in shock. Bailey, is there an attachment in the email? Yes. Bailey licked his lip. I thought it was just an ordinary map. Don't we have it? I didn't collect it. Damn, there really is one. The Tiger Men expert's eyes widened in surprise. Oh my god, I really don't know how you guys survived all this time. Shitu couldn't help but slap his face. After everyone collected the map, they saw that it was a completely dynamic map. It marked the number of survivors in the assessment zone and the time of the next death storm. There was also a blue box in the middle of the map. See, this blue box is the supply box. We are going to this supply box now. Shitu couldn't help but sigh. I didn't think that I would be the only one to notice this. The others only glanced at the email and didn't pay attention to the details. We've been heading towards this box ever since we entered the desert. I thought you guys already knew. Stop talking about this, I see people. Suddenly you, who had been silent all this while, frowned and spoke up. Everyone looked over and saw 10 odd people in the distance. They seemed to be heading towards the supply box as well. According to the mark on the map, the supplies should have arrived. Why can't we see them yet? The Tiger Men expert scratched his head. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and looked over, then saw a blue box covered in yellow sand in a sandpit. Only a corner of the box could be seen. If one didn't look carefully, it would be very hard to notice. The supplies are over there. As soon as he finished speaking, she too frowned and cracked his neck. Get ready. From now on, this desert belongs to our team. This is our box, no one can touch it. Chapter 2495. In a world without any cosmic energy. It wasn't just Yi Zichen's team that had their eyes on the supply box. If one person could think of it, the others would definitely think of it as well. The only difference was that it was only a matter of time. At this level, even if they were at the entry-level domain level of a cosmic citizen, they definitely weren't simple people. No one was stupid. Why did they go around it? Ling Xiao frowned. There was a team in front of them, but when they were about to reach the supply box, they didn't go to get it. Instead, they went around the box. Did they not see it? Tigerhead asked. Do you think that's possible? Amu twitched his mouth. They were almost right in front of their faces. If they can't see it, then all I can say is that their eyes are just decorations. Tigerhead was speechless. Tigerheads thought things through very simply. He was just saying it casually. He rubbed his nose bitterly. He didn't retort and waited for his team leader and the 2 big shots to speak. All he had to do was carry out the order. Brother Yi, big sister Yu, what do you think? Shitu didn't say what he thought. Instead, he asked Yi Zichen and Yu, the 2 peak experts of the universe. There are golden sand lizards around the box. Yu said. Yes. Yi Zichen nodded. The supply box was right in front of them. There had to be a reason why they didn't take it. Then, the only possibility was that there were golden sand lizards around. As for the fact that the supply box had already been taken, they didn't even look. That was impossible. What's more, the golden sand around the box was wriggling. Although it was well hidden, it was obvious that there were golden sand lizards hiding there. I think so too. After the 2 big shots spoke, Shitu also nodded. It's just that we can't be sure just how many golden sand lizards there are. You said 9. Yi Zichen said. Both of them glanced at each other as soon as they finished speaking. They gave different numbers, and the difference wasn't small either. Why did you say 9? You frowned. There are 3 more hidden underneath the box, Yi Zichen gestured. Yi Zichen pointed towards the bottom of the supply box. You should be looking around the box, right? Really? You furrowed his brows and released his cosmic energy. Soon, he raised his eyebrows and nodded silently. You're right. Haha, it's about the same as 6. The 3 at the bottom are stellar level. They're not threatening at all. Yi Zichen sensed that Yu's mood wasn't quite right. Yu did not say a word. She couldn't accept the mistake she had just made. She had come here to aim for first place. If she couldn't even get first place in the first round of trials, then what right did she have to get into the top 10,000 of the entire universe's genius competition? Moreover, her goal wasn't just 10,000. Ha ha ha, Brother Yi is right. Actually, the gap between us isn't that big. How about the strength of the others? Why don't we take action? She too also smiled. But those people are lying in ambush. They must be waiting for the others to exhaust themselves with the golden sand lizards before coming out to reap the benefits. Ling Qiao reminded. We're not afraid. She too shrugged nonchalantly. What's the composition of our team? So what if someone ambushes us? Do you think they can deal with our 2 big shots? The golden sand lizards are hard to deal with because they can split themselves without touching water. Brother Yi is a water controller, so dealing with them won't take too much effort. I agree. Hu Tu nodded. I agree as well. Yu nodded as well. Brother Yi, big sister Yu, what do you think? She too asked with a smile. Yu was expressionless. It was clear that she had no objections to any decision. Sure. There were still a lot of supply boxes on the map. Yi Zichen didn't want to waste too much time here. They took the supply box. They had to hurry to the next one. Then let's go. She too made the final decision. I'm going to attract the golden sand lizard's attention. Ling Qiao use wind escape. As for attacking, I'll leave it to you guys. With that, Ling Qiao activated wind escape under Shi Tu's feet. Shi Tu also leapt forward. Not long after, all 9 golden sand lizards were summoned. Brother Yi, big sister Yu. The golden sand lizards chased after them relentlessly. Yi Zichen raised his hand without any hesitation, causing all of the water elements in the surrounding space to gather in his palm. Soon after, the clear skies of the golden desert began to rain cats and dogs. Hu Tu and Yu both prepared to attack. Just as they were about to do so, a blinding flame lit up behind them. The scorching flames seemed like they were going to burn the heavens and the earth. Go! It was accompanied by a whisper. 9 balls of fire tore through the sky and landed precisely on the golden sand lizards' heads. All of a sudden, the golden sand lizards melted. Damn, a fire controller. Assault types are so fierce. Hu Tu and Yu exclaimed. Yi Zichen tilted his head and glanced at Yu. I didn't expect her to be a violent girl with fire control abilities. Brother Yi, big sister Yu, you're so cool. She too laughed loudly, while Ling Qiao's eyes were filled with shock. Just now, although Yi Zichen and Yu didn't know each other, their teamwork was practically flawless. It seems like we won't be needed in the future, Hu Tu shrugged. Hu Tu shrugged, while Yu also nodded helplessly. With an assault-type controller present, the 2 of them, who had just reached the universe level, could say goodbye to the stage. Give me all the points. Yu frowned. There's nothing we can do about it, Shi Tu shrugged. The points belong to whoever kills the beast, but that's not important. As long as we survive until the end, we'll definitely get plenty of points. The most important thing right now is to get the supply box. Everyone else nodded. Yu subconsciously looked towards Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen shrugged. He didn't care too much about the points. The true way to get points was to eliminate others. That was the best way to get points in large quantities. Hurry up and see what's in the supply box. Hu Tu grinned and ran forward, while the others stood silently in place. They had dealt with the golden sand lizards, but they hadn't dealt with the team that ambushed them. Actually, the supply box didn't belong to them yet. However, after a moment of hesitation, everyone else followed. Everyone followed suit. Perhaps the ambushing team would not dare to cause trouble after seeing their strength. Chapter 2496. Damn! We're rich. Everyone arrived in front of the supply box. She too opened the chest in front of everyone. Seeing the supplies in the chest, Nimble, Tigerhead and Amu who were surrounding the chest were stunned. Elixir supply. After a short moment of silence, Shitu's pupils dilated. He looked at the people around him in surprise and then at the supplies in the box. Medicinal pills. All of them are high-grade recovery and healing pills. This chest is worth at least $1 million universe dollars. Shitu's breathing quickened as he spoke. $1 million universe dollars, to those who had just stepped into the universe level, could be considered a huge amount of wealth. Ling Qiao, Hu Tu, and Amu. After hearing this number, their eyes were filled with surprise. In response, Yi Zichen and you didn't react at all. From the way he spoke, he was most likely from a large family in the universe. For example, Steel Bar's Steel family had an allowance of hundreds of thousands or even millions. If it were some big clans, using it to nurture their clan's heirs would definitely require even more resources. As for Yi Zichen, at this moment, he had a life star. With his chaotic star, it was easy for him to earn 1 million a day. He was more concerned about the supplies here. In this kind of enclosed level 2 world, the value of the supplies far exceeded the value of the supplies. It looked like this box was worth millions on the outside. It was not impossible to sell it for tens of millions here. No matter what, supplies were a rare commodity here. Even if you had the money, you wouldn't be able to sell goods here. The eyes of Shitu and the others were filled with excitement. About half a minute was only enough time. When they finally calmed down, they noticed that Yi Zichen and you were acting very normally, and realized that they might have lost their composure just now. I've embarrassed myself in front of Brother Yi and Sister Yu. Shitu smiled sheepishly and scratched his head. What's there to laugh at? 1 million universe credits isn't a small amount to begin with. It's only natural that I feel excited. Yi Zichen smiled understandingly. Yeah, but don't get too excited. The supplies don't truly belong to us yet. Why doesn't it belong to us? The tiger head widened its eyes. We're still being watched by some people. Yi Zichen stretched lazily, then shot a water arrow at the distant golden desert. You've been hiding there all this time. What exactly do you want? Do you want to leave or do you want to steal? Tell me. Are those people still there? Shitu and company looked in the direction of Yi Zichen's arrow. They thought that the reason why those people didn't come out was because they saw the strength of their team and didn't dare to fight for it anymore. They didn't expect that these people were still hiding nearby, waiting for an opportunity to strike. The water arrow shot out. The golden sand seemed to have not been nourished by water for a long time, greedily absorbing the water element of the water arrow. Soon, a large patch of golden sand solidified. Beneath the golden sand, 6 young men and women walked out. It had to be said. The overall strength of this team was pretty good. 3 were in the Universe Stage 8, while the others were all in the Universe Stage 4 or higher. In terms of overall strength, they were no weaker than Yi Zichen's team. F***CK. We've run into a tough one. Seeing them walk out, Hu Tu couldn't help but curse in a low voice. Yi Zichen, you. How did our 2 peak-level friends end up in a team like this? The one who spoke was a muscular youth. How about this, you join us? You should be able to see that our team's overall strength is far superior to yours. Let's eliminate these people, then we'll split the points evenly. How about that? Big brother Yi, big sister Yu. When they heard that, Shitu and the others' expressions changed. If Yi Zichen and the others nodded, even if just one of them nodded, their entire team would be annihilated. You're right. Unfortunately, I don't like you. I can't be bothered to play with you. Yi Zichen shrugged, then Yu Tu hesitated for a moment before voicing her opinion. If he doesn't go, then there's no point in me going. When they heard the two big shots' responses, everyone in the team let out a long sigh of relief. Big Shots really had the demeanor of Big Shot. You're not acting rationally at all. The muscular youth shook his head with a sigh. If you're in a team like this, they won't be able to help you. They'll only be a burden. If you don't want to be in our team, that's fine. But I suggest you pair up with two peak-level friends. You'll be far stronger than they are right now. Not a bad suggestion. I'll consider it. Yi Zichen nodded. Out of respect for you two, we won't fight you, said the muscular youth. That is, if possible, I hope you can split the spoils with us. The muscular youth demanded an exorbitant price. When they heard that, she too and the others' expressions changed. You really have a big appetite. Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. The sturdy young man nodded noncommittally. I'm not trying to scare you, but if you really do fight us, you might not necessarily win. Splitting the spoils with us will save you some cosmic energy. Isn't that a good deal? You're very confident too. Not long after the muscular youth said that, Yi Zichen let out a sigh and smiled. I don't dislike confident people, but I especially dislike conceited people. Do you think your team's overall strength is pretty good, so you think you can fight us? Isn't that so? We three are in the 8th stage of the universe. Suppressing 2 of you in the 9th stage shouldn't be a problem, right? That depends on who you are. Yi Zichen smiled at him. You think there's not much of a difference between the 8th and 9th stages, but you have no idea. The difference between us is, your limit is the 8th stage. I'm the 9th because there are only 9 peak levels in the universe. With that, Yi Zichen shrugged. Don't make a mistake. Hurry up and F***ck off. Be careful or you'll lose your life before you even get your supplies. I really don't know where you get your confidence from. The muscular youth's gaze darkened. Just because you're a controller of water? So what if you're at the peak of the universe? Water is still water. You said you weren't wrong. Yi Zichen nodded seriously. Little did he know, if he hadn't suppressed the water elemental sprite, the guy would have jumped at him a long time ago. Now, the sprite was cursing in Yi Zichen's mind. It was so angry that it wanted to spar with the youth. But I have assault-type people here. Yi Zichen took 2 steps back, then pushed Yu out. These brats don't respect me, so they don't respect you. Big sister Yu, burn them to death. Chapter 2497. Yu. When you saw Yi Zichen run towards her, her eyes were filled with astonishment. She didn't say anything for a long time. Burn them, Yi Zichen urged as he hid behind her. Why me? Weren't you arguing with them just now? You should be the one dealing with this problem. Yu replied in confusion. I'm a water controller. Do you expect me to fight them? Ha ha ha, do you see that? Your teammates don't want to help you at all. The muscular youth's eyes were filled with arrogance and disdain. The sturdy young man's eyes were filled with arrogance and disdain. As he spoke, the rest of his team surrounded him. He looked at the fire controller and said with a smile, Hey, pretty lady, why don't you join us? If we're in the same team, all the supply boxes here will be ours. The muscular young man extended an invitation in a friendly manner. A Universe Pinnacle Assault Controller was still a threat to their team. If they could really convince her to join, it would be a huge boost to their entire team. It would be like adding wings to a tiger. During that time, the others had already surrounded the supply boxes and Yi Zichen's team. It was clear that they would attack Yi Zichen's team the moment the young man gave the order. Boss, why are you wasting your breath on them? Isn't it just a peak offensive controller? We have 2 in the 8th level of the universe. Do we still need to be afraid of them? Yeah, we also have a lightning controller. In truth, the members of the other teams had said that in order to tell Yi Zichen and the others about their strength, they wanted to let them know just how strong they were. If they didn't want to die, then hurry up and leave. Also, they wanted to give you some time to think and make a decision. As expected. When they said that their team had 2 offensive manipulators, the expressions on Shi-Tu's and the others' faces changed drastically. More importantly, they also had a lightning controller. E.g., how about we give the supplies to them? Shi-Tu hesitated for a moment, then felt like it was better not to fight for the supply boxes. They would be able to get the supplies in the future. They only had one life. One had to know that when they came here, it was clearly stated that they could kill their competitors. Scared? Yi Zichen's expression was rather displeased when he heard Shi-Tu's hesitation. He was terrified at this moment. If they really wanted to monopolize the supply boxes, they would have to face everyone here as their enemy. This was just the beginning. Now that they had encountered a team with decent strength, they were so afraid that they wanted to hand over their supplies. Then what was the point of talking about monopolizing supplies? Not to mention anything else, as long as this team was around, they would not be able to obtain a single supply box. I'm not afraid, I just think. Shi-Tu pursed his lips. Tiger Head suddenly walked out and started cursing. What's there to be afraid of? If they really want supplies, then come and get them. We work so hard to get supplies, so why should we give them to them? If you're not satisfied, then come at us. Even if they can take away the supplies, we'll still make them lose a piece of meat. I agree. Amu narrowed his eyes and nodded. This was a matter of pride, at the universe level. Who wasn't prideful? What right did a few words have to make them give up on the supply boxes that they had worked so hard for? Ha ha ha, the ignorant are truly fearless. The muscular young man laughed and looked at Yu. What do you think? I can't go to your place. Yu shook her head. I'm a fire controller, and my teammate is a water controller. If I go to your place, then he will naturally suppress me. It's better for me to stay here. Then you're going to become our enemy. The muscular young man's gaze also darkened. I don't want to. Yu shook her head silently. I don't know why you guys like fighting and killing so much. These supplies were obtained by us, so they should belong to us. You guys coming at this time is snatching. We are snatching, so what can you do? My dad and my best friend always told me that my personality of not fighting needs to change. That's why they put me in this assessment area. Yu muttered softly, then ignited a flame in her palm. They also told me that if anyone tries to snatch it, they'll kill that person. If you insist on snatching it, then you'll all die. Yu muttered in a low voice before a flame ignited in his palm. What a joke. The sturdy young man suddenly laughed heartily. Then let us see just how capable you are to be able to kill us all. Attack! With that, the muscular young man's team charged forward. Yi Zichen raised his hand. Then, he saw Yu turn towards him. Yi Zichen hurriedly retracted the water. Boom! The flames turned into a sea of flames. The entire golden desert seemed to have turned into a sea of flames. Yu's eyebrows darkened, then raised her hand towards the sky, then slowly pressed down. Several tens of flaming dragons roared deafeningly. The people who charged forward all retreated, regardless of whether they were Universe Level 8 controllers or other members of the team. I agree with something Yi Zichen said. The difference between us isn't the difference between the 8 and 9 levels. It's that you can only reach the 8 levels, while for us, the universe level is only the 9 levels. You can't kill us. We're from the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, shouted the person who was about to be swallowed by the flames. What he didn't know was that his words had no effect on Yu. Heaven and Earth Pavilion? Never heard of it. Swallowed by the flames. Several members of the team were instantly turned to dust. Several Universe Level 8 controllers struggled to hold on, but they couldn't resist the heat of the flames. To everyone's surprise, the muscular youth clearly looked like a martial artist. They didn't expect him to be a fire controller as well. However, his control over the fire elements was far too lacking. What's more, there was still Yi Zichen. When he tried to control the fire elements to charge out of the flames, Yi Zichen controlled the water elements to wreak havoc around him. Even when he died, he didn't manage to form a layer of flame cloak. The fire dragons devoured him bit by bit. Before he died, he shouted in despair, "The Heaven and Earth Pavilion will take revenge for us. Hurry up and die." With that, Yi Zichen condensed an ice spike and pierced it through the youth's forehead. The muscular youth instantly stopped breathing, allowing the flames to burn him to ashes. "What do you mean?" Yu tilted her head in confusion. "What is it?" Yi Zichen also tilted his head in confusion. "Snatch points. All right, so that's what you like. I understand." Yu nodded silently, then walked forward. Yi Zichen scratched his head awkwardly. "I was actually discovered." Chapter 2498. Everyone could see that. The strongest person in the group was the bulky young man. He definitely had the most points out of all of them. Yi Zichen killed him with an icicle, so he could get half of his point. Yi Zichen had thought that he had been quite secretive. He had also found a good excuse. He didn't expect you to see through him. Crap. We're in trouble now. Shitu couldn't help but mutter to himself as he looked at the people who had been killed. A hint of fear surfaced in his eyes. At the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. This was in several universe countries. They were all very famous factions. Based on the strength of those people, they were at least elites in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. If they were all killed, the Heaven and Earth Pavilion would definitely take their anger out on them. Shitu, how did you manage to reach the universe level when you're so overcautious? Yi Zichen couldn't help but frown when he saw Shitu's expression. You were the one who wanted to form the group. Did you call us over to admit defeat? If you're really afraid, then leave the competition right now, or leave this group. Yi Zichen's impression of Shitu was pretty good at the start. He was rather optimistic and meticulous. However, he was too cowardly. His personality wasn't wrong, but from the looks of it, it would definitely affect the group's morale quite a bit. Yi-ji, you don't know. Shitu shouted with a frown. We're different from you and Big Sister Yu. Big Sister Yu should be from a large family. Your sister is a sovereign, so the Heaven and Earth Pavilion is naturally nothing in your eyes. But we're just normal people in the universe, and our families aren't any large families. In our eyes, the Heaven and Earth Pavilion is a colossus. You killed them all. You didn't even leave a single one alive. And the ones you killed were two of their controllers, a salt type, and one of them was a lightning type. Shitu's eyes were filled with despair. It was as if he could already imagine the future. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion would find him, and his family would allow them to take him away in fear of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion's strength. Any assault type controller is a rare talent. Lightning type is even more so. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion might not cause trouble for you after you killed them, but will they let us go? Shitu shouted at the top of his lungs. Yi Zichen didn't want to retort, so he simply shook his head silently. Isn't it better to kill them all? Hu Tu didn't understand. If they kill them all, no one will know that we killed them. How could I not know? The competition this time will be broadcasted live. Shitu's eyes were red. Now, everyone in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion must know that we did it, they all know. This time's competition between geniuses. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion dispatched more than 3,700 elite members. There were 12 level 1 elites, 64 level 2 elites, and the rest were level 3 elite. The reason why these level 3 elites existed was to pave the way for level 1 elites and level 2 elite. They understood this very well. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion had always been like this. Relying on this method, batches of high-level elites were pushed forward. By the time the next hegemony tournament started, the level 3 elites would have grown into level 1 or level 2 elite. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion attached great importance to rank 1 and rank 2 elite. When they were participating in the hegemony contest, they would send out staff members to record their situation and report back every 3 days. In a deep mountain, This valley was surrounded by mountains. This was a branch of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. The person overseeing this place was an elder-ranked administrator. Dong dong dong. There was a knock on the door. The middle-aged man sitting on the sofa glanced at the projection outside. "Why are you here now? Didn't you just report the situation?" It was the staff member who came to report the elite member's situation. The middle-aged man in the room frowned slightly but still opened the door. "Sir! What's the matter?" "Yes, please take a look." The staff member nodded and walked over. He handed the middle-aged man a stone that was used to collect information. When the stone was placed on the table, a projection was projected out. Dong! Suddenly, the middle-aged man slammed his palm on the table. Instantly, the table under his palm turned into dust. "What are the ranks of the dead members?" "1 level 1 elite, 1 level 2 elite, and 4 level 3 elites." Damn it! The middle-aged man clenched his fist. He didn't really care about the deaths of level 3 elite. This time's hegemony contest was much bloodier than before. When they were sent to participate in the hegemony contest, the upper echelons had already tacitly agreed that there would be death. Level 2 elites. He could accept it. Although he felt a bit of heartache, it was still within the acceptable range. Level 1 elites. A level 1 elite actually died. I understand. The middle-aged man let out a deep breath. After a long while, he finally calmed down a bit. "Send people to White Sky Planet. Remember these people who killed our members. As long as they leave here alive, immediately capture them." "Yes." "Also, go and investigate these people's backgrounds and strength. Leave it to me." "Understood." Seeing the staff member leave, the middle-aged man squinted his eyes and looked at the people in the projection. He wanted to see just who was so daring to act against level 1 and level 2 elites of the Pavilion of Heaven and Earth. Right now, the Pavilion of Heaven and Earth must have already sent people here. As long as we leave here alive, they will capture us. She too sat on the floor. Situ slumped onto the ground. "They're arresting us, not Brother Yi and Sister Yu." Yi Zichen and Yu remained silent. They truly didn't know what to say. "How about we leave as well?" Yu shrugged after a moment of hesitation. "I killed them. I'll make it clear to the people of the Pavilion of Heaven and Earth when we leave." "Me too." Yi Zichen also shrugged. "We'll take care of the problem. Don't worry. Also, she too, you're not suited to continue participating. Just leave. There's no need for you to continue with your personality. You don't have the heart to become strong." Seeing that the two of them were about to leave, Tigerhead, Amu and Ling Qiao all opened their eyes wide. "Big Brother Yi, Big Sister Yu, don't leave!" Tigerhead shouted. "If you guys leave, then we'll definitely be trampled upon here. Our journey to become the top will end here. I don't want to be in the same group as She Tuesday." "Me too." Yu and Yi Zichen nodded. Then, Tigerhead and company also spoke up. "She too, just leave." Chapter 2499. What? What are you guys talking about? She too stared at the people in front of him, his eyes filled with disbelief. After all, he'd painstakingly built this team up bit by bit. If it weren't for him, it would have been impossible for this team to exist. "She too, withdraw from the competition," the Tigerhead said without any hesitation. Tigerhead said without hesitation, "We're doing this for your own good." "For my own good." She too's pupils constricted as he pointed at the tiger's head and roared. He pointed at the tiger head and roared, "If it weren't for me, do you think this team could exist? I'm the leader of this team. I'm the one who established it. That's how you got in touch with Yi Zichen and you. You're telling me to withdraw from the competition? Why? You're the founder, yes, but Big Brother Yi and Big Sister you have already abandoned you." Amu's gaze was cold. In the face of Shitu's questioning, he didn't react in the slightest. "Shitu, I believe you understand. If we want to survive here and get a higher ranking, we need Big Brother Yi and Big Sister Yu, Not you. Just now. You had instantly killed several elites of the Pavilion of Heaven and Earth on her own. Yi Zichen, the Master of Water, could release ice. From this, it was clear that the two of them were definitely at the peak of this year's examination. As long as they followed them, no matter how bad they were, they could still get into the top 100. To them, this was an opportunity they had to seize. How could they possibly give up? You guys. Shitu reached out and glared at the people in front of him. Then his gaze landed on Ling Qiao. Qiao, do you think so too? Ling Qiao bit her lips. They knew each other in the real world. Shitu waited expectantly for Ling Qiao's reply, then she nodded. Qiao. Shitu sat down on the sand as if he couldn't take the blow. Big brother Shitu, how about you withdraw for real? This is really for your own good. We're in the center of the desert. There are many golden sand lizards here. If you go alone, it'll be very dangerous. You're going to betray me too? Shitu reached out with a trembling hand. It's not a betrayal. Ling Qiao gently shook her head. Brother Shitu, I also think that you are too cautious. I'm just worried. What's wrong with me? Shitu's eyes were red. You don't even know what I'm shouldering. Have you ever considered why I did what I did? You don't know anything, but you think I'm wrong, so you betrayed me and followed them. In this universe, everyone strives to forge ahead. At this moment, you suddenly walked out and looked at him coldly. Don't think that you're the only one with a heavy burden. Everyone here is not alone. You don't have to feel that others don't understand you, because no one needs to understand you. As soon as he said that, you walked to the supply box without even looking back. He took out all the supplies from the supply box. He threw a bottle of pills on the ground in front of Shi Tuesday. This is your share. Following that, Yu collected the other supplies, weapons, equipment, and support tools from the Heaven and Earth Pavilion members she had just killed. If you want to go with us, follow us. Yi Zichen also turned around and left without much hesitation. He didn't feel like there was anything wrong with what you had said. Although she might have been a bit unreasonable, there was nothing wrong with her words. Shitu felt like the heavy burden on his shoulders forced him to live cautiously. He complained that others didn't understand him, but did he understand them? Was he the only one with a heavy burden? Yi Zichen had enemies like the Milky Way and the Tsangyue Galaxy on his back. What did he say? What's more, he didn't give up on Shitu for anyone else. It was because of Shitu's overcautious and self-pitying personality. If someone like that always existed in the group, it would be a disaster for the entire group. It was a disaster for the entire group. If they encountered some strong enemies, they would want to leave the group. If they encountered some organizations, they would feel despair. That sort of personality. Actually, he had already lost the desire to become strong. Cultivation. He had always been going against the heavens. If he didn't advance, he would be pushed back. If he didn't have the courage to fight against the world, then what was the point of being in the universe? He might as well find a peaceful life planet and live a normal life. Also, they were here to participate in the elimination round. The elimination round's mechanism was to make everyone here an enemy. From the moment they entered the examination area, they were destined to be enemies with everyone. In that situation, if they didn't kill the people from the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, then they would kill Yi Zichen and the others. It was a fight to kill or be killed. In the end, he was actually afraid that the Heaven and Earth Pavilion would cause trouble for him. Since that was the case, he could just stick his neck out and let the people from the Heaven and Earth Pavilion chop it off. Shitu sat silently on the golden sand. He watched as Ling Qiao, Hu Tu, and Amu left with Yi Zichen and Yu. You guys. Really, Shitu just quit. That way you might be able to live. Amu glanced at him. Don't blame us. This is how the universe is. Only the strong have the right to speak. Yi Zichen patted Shitu's shoulder. Then, everyone hurried over to the next supply box. Shitu sat silently on the ground and clenched his fists with bloodshot eyes. He looked at the bottle of pills on the ground and took out his nameplate. It's over. He was also very clear that this round of elimination might really end here, but he just didn't understand what he had done wrong. He clearly just wanted to vent his anger, so that he could get a bigger share of the resources when it came to the distribution. How did things end up like this? He didn't want to quit. However, without Yu and Yizichin, the chances of him returning to the continent alive and regrouping with another team were too slim. Hey bro! At that moment, several black-clothed men and women walked out of the Golden Desert. You should be one of Yizichin and Yu's team, right? Why are you the only one left here? Can't you tell? I've been abandoned. Shitu's eyes revealed a hint of resentment. There was a hint of resentment in Shitu's eyes. The young man nodded in understanding. That's not good news. Are you planning to withdraw from the competition? That's right. Quitting is too much of a pity. The leading young man squinted his eyes. This is just the beginning. If you quit now, you won't even be able to get into the top 10 million. Won't your family be disappointed? What are you trying to say? Shitu frowned. How about working together with us? Chapter 2500. Cooperate? Shitu frowned as he looked at the black-clothed man. There were a total of 12 people. What shocked him was that these people were actually all Universe Level 8 and Pinnacle warriors. These people actually bumped into each other. It seemed like these people knew each other before they came, otherwise they wouldn't be dressed so neatly. I don't think there's anything we need to cooperate on. Shitu maintained his vigilance as he looked at these people. From his point of view, their arrival was simply too strange. What's more, with his strength, he really didn't think there was anything they needed to cooperate on. Don't be in a hurry to reject us. The youth squinted his eyes and smiled. Take a look at your virtual network. Don't worry, we won't attack you while you're in the virtual network. You should be very clear that if we wanted to kill you, you'd be dead by now. Silently looking at the person before him, Shitu entered the virtual network through his quantum computer. From his quantum computer, he could tell that his family's strength in the universe was very average. Very likely, he was the hope of his entire family, otherwise a great universe-level warrior using a quantum computer would be quite pitiful. Entering the virtual network, Shitu saw that he had received a mail from the Universe Union Bank. Respected user, hello. Congratulations on becoming a 5-star user. 5-star. Looking at this mail, Shitu was stunned for at least half a minute. To become a 5-star user of the Universe Union Bank. Or to become a universe level, which was 1 star. Or to store enough money in the bank. To become a 5-star user, one had to be at least a titled level of strength, or 100 million universe dollars. His current strength was only at the 1-star level. The possibility of him reaching the 5-star level was the latter. He hurriedly flipped to the next mail. It was a transfer of 500 million universe dollars. As long as he could deposit another 500 million, he could become a gold card of the Universe Union Bank. How is it, I wonder if you're satisfied with this meeting gift? The youth smiled as he looked at Shitu. The shocked Shitu slowly raised his head to look at the person before him. What do you mean by this? How did you find my information and transfer the money to me? You don't need to know that. The young man smiled and said, You just need to know that this money is my sincerity. You haven't said whether you're satisfied or not. Very satisfied. Shitu's voice trembled as he answered. 500 million universe credits. What he had now, even the wealth of his entire family might not be as much as he had. What do you need from me? Such a large sum of money made it difficult for Shitu to calm down. However, he knew very well that it would not be easy to obtain this sum of money. It's very simple. The black-robed youth whispered in Shitu's ear for a while. Not long after, Shitu shook his head vigorously. That's impossible. How could I dare do such a thing? His sister is a venerable. My family will be destroyed. Do you think the Heaven and Earth Pavilion will let you go if you leave now? The black-clothed youth grinned. Moreover, you don't have to be too afraid. Actually, what I just said was very simple. It's not like we're asking you to kill him. We're just asking you to help us a little. If you can do it, we'll transfer another 4.5 billion universe credits to you. That's a total of 5 billion. I'll contact you to think about it. 5 billion is equivalent to 50 Chaos Cores. Many titled Battle Pet warriors aren't as rich as you are. Gulp. She too gulp. Can you guarantee that my family? Shoo. All of a sudden, the black-robed youth put his hand to his lips and smiled. Why are you still talking about your family at a time like this? That family of yours. Is it really of any help to you? They're a burden to you. Think about it, if it weren't for them, would you have collapsed like this today? But, no buts, 5 billion. You can do anything. As long as you have 5 billion and improve your strength and rank, you can build a new family. The black-robed youth patted his shoulder. We can guarantee your safety, but not your family. Think about it. Family. 5 billion. She too was at a crossroads in his life. He had to choose between his family and his wealth. He looked at the 500 million universe credits in his account. He could still give another 4.5 billion after this. How can I be sure that you're telling the truth? She too looked up at the black-robed youth. Even now, he still couldn't see his face clearly. What if I do it, but you don't give it to me? I can sign a spiritual oath with you, the black-robed youth said without any hesitation. As long as you do as I say, I, Kurama, will pay you a commission of 4.5 billion universe credits after the job is done. Asterisk ding. Asterisk as soon as Kurama finished speaking, she too received a soul oath. You're Kurama. He was the third person to enter the examination area during the examination, and he was also a peak expert. Yes. I am Kurama, but I can only tell you. I can't let you see me. Our examination this time is being broadcasted live. I can't let anyone see my face. I also can't let anyone know that I've been in contact with you. You've received the soul oath. You should feel more at ease now, right? Do you have a grudge against Yizichin? She too frowned. That has nothing to do with you, Kurama shook his head. What you need to do is what I told you before. After you do it, you'll get 5 billion. As for the rest, don't ask about it. It won't do you any good, understand? Understood. She too nodded like a chick pecking at grains. 5 billion. As long as he succeeded, he would get such a shocking amount of wealth. It would be enough for him to reach the general level. It might even be higher. Commander. Or even a title. Then how do I contact you? She too let out a deep breath. How do you know if I've succeeded or failed? That's none of your business, Kurama smiled. As long as you succeed, we will naturally know. Just like what you did to the Heaven and Earth Pavilion just now, we didn't see it, but we still know, right? You guys. Suddenly, she too thought of a possibility. Kurama pursed his lips and placed his hand by his mouth. Shoo! Don't think about those useless things. Do what you have to do. I'll wait for your good news. Chapter 2501. Golden Desert. Cell phone terminal. According to the map, Yizichin and company were currently in the northwest of the desert. There is human activity 13 kilometers northeast. There's also human activity 6 kilometers southwest. Amu operated and monitored the compass. They'd obtained this compass from a member of the Pavilion of Heaven and Earth. It was originally a tool they used to monitor the activities of other humans, but now it belonged to Yizichin's team. It had to be said, the surveillance compass was quite useful. With its existence, they could avoid other active humans and avoid some unnecessary conflict. That way, they would be able to reach the supply box faster. After all, while there were quite a few adventuring teams in the Golden Desert, there were very few that had a complete team like Yizichin's. Strength affected the confidence of the team. Without absolute strength, even though they were also heading towards the supply box, their efficiency was very slow. They could only advance bit by bit. In Yi Zichen's team, before the other humans arrived, they could finish off the surrounding golden sand lizards, obtain supplies, and leave. Who's going to loot the chest this time? After dealing with the golden sand lizard, Yu Yu tilted her head and looked at Amu, Tigerhead, and Ling Qiao. As for her and Yi Zichen, forget it. Their hands were too black. Before this, they had already obtained more than a dozen supply boxes, all of which were looted by the two of them. After opening the boxes, there were only some basic pills and medicines for recovering cosmic energy, and the quantity was pitifully small. According to the price of pills outside the universe, the boxes they touched were all worth less than 1 million. Let me do it, let me do it. Ling Qiao volunteered herself. She hurriedly ran to the box and opened it. Half a minute passed. Ling Qiao, who was opening the chest, did not say anything. Looks like it's getting dark again. Tigerhead and Amu shrugged their shoulders. In fact, they didn't really care about it. They were used to looting chests after a few times. What's inside? Yi Zichen asked. I think we're rich. Suddenly, Ling Qiao stuttered. Immediately, Hu Tu and Amu rushed forward. F***ck. Qiao, your hand is too lucky. Facing this scene, Yu and Yi Zichen glanced at each other, then walked up to the supply chest. They saw that it was still filled with quite a few regular supplies, but there were also a few of them. Berserk potion. Yu was stunned for a long time. Then, she made a grabbing motion in the air. The supplies and a fiery red glass tube of medicine fell into her hand. Bell, what is the berserk potion used for? Yi Zichen muttered in his mind. From the looks of it, they should all recognize the medicine and its value. Only Yi Zichen didn't know anything about it. Berserk potion is a special potion of the human race. The grade of the potion affects the potency of the potion, but even the lowest grade can double one's strength for 2 hours. After using it, you will be in a weakened state for 24 hours. It can be said that there are pros and cons. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. This medicine was definitely a divine medicine. An increase of more than 2 times. If used properly, it might even be able to save his life in a crisis. Rank 3 Berserk Potion. At that moment, Yu, who was holding the Berserk Potion, spoke up. The lowest user is at the universe level. It increases one's strength by about 26 times. Does anyone want to buy it? Big sister Yu, don't you need it? Hu Tu asked. I'm a controller, so I don't have much need for Berserk potions. This kind of potion is more suitable for warriors. Yu tilted her head and glanced at Hu Tu and Amu. You two are warriors. Who wants to buy it? Big sister Yu, how could we possibly afford it? Amu smiled wryly. Even the worst Berserk potion costs over 3 million universe credit. A rank 3 Berserk potion can sell for 20 million universe credits outside. Do you think we can afford it? Hu Tu nodded. The Berserk potion was definitely a treasure. As warriors, they all knew that very well. However, it was also very expensive. It wasn't something they could afford. They also didn't expect the potion to be given to them for free. They had already made it very clear that if there was a need, they could buy it with money and split the money accordingly. If there wasn't, then they would split it as per normal. Then what about this potion? You shrugged. There's only one potion. We can't split it among the 5 of us. I'll buy it. At that moment, Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. How much is it? I'll buy it. You want to buy it? Aren't you a controller as well? You frowned. If you really want to buy it, then 20 million. According to the 43,111 split we agreed on, you just have to pay 14 million. The 43111 split was their split. You would be the main attacker, so she would get 40% of the supplies. Yi Zichen would be the support attacker, so he would get 30%. The others would get 10% each. Nobody had any problems with this split. Hu and company even felt like they were taking advantage of the situation. Actually, that was the case. They didn't really need to do anything, all they had to do was wait for the supplies. Sure. Give me your bank accounts. I'll transfer the money to you right now. 2 minutes later, after paying 14 million, Yi Zichen got the berserk potion as he wished. He was going to buy the potion no matter what. Ignoring the fact that the examination was filled with danger, even if he managed to get out safely, he had a portion of berserk potion on him for emergencies. Thank you, Yi Ji. Ling Qiao, and the others, who received the money, revealed joy in their eyes. In less than half a year, their income had already exceeded their total wealth. As expected, there was nothing wrong with following brother Yi and sister Yu. On the other hand, Yu's expression remained the same. As a descendant of a large family, a few million universe dollars was nothing to make a fuss about. Are we going to the next supply box? After receiving the money, Tiger Head and the others were even more motivated. Xiao is really lucky to be able to loot the next supply box. Ling Qiao scratched her head shyly. Before she could speak, Mu suddenly frowned. Someone is coming towards them. 2 kilometers to go. 1 kilometer. How many? Yi Zichen and Yu shrugged nonchalantly. Mu glanced at his compass. It's just one person, but he's followed by over 100, no, close to 1,000 golden sand lizards. What? Immediately, everyone in the group was shocked. Chapter 2502. Brother Yi, Sister Yu, what should we do? What else can I do? Run. Yi Zichen didn't even think, and immediately flew out of the desert on his sword. Thousands of golden sand lizards, even if they were at the star state, they would still have a hard time dealing with them. In such a situation, if he didn't run away, would he still be staying here for the new year? You use a sword. When you saw the sword beneath Yi Zichen's feet, she froze. I can't. Aren't you a controller? Can't controllers use swords? Yi Zichen tilted his head, his eyes filled with bewilderment. Don't all controllers use staffs? Yu frowned. Is that so? Yi Zichen didn't pursue the matter too much with Yu. What weapon to use was a personal preference. It didn't seem like there were any special rules in the universe that said controllers had to use staffs, or martial artists had to use swords. I have a feeling that you are very familiar with someone I know. What a coincidence, I feel the same way. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes at the veiled Yu. Tell me the truth, are you Bai Yu? You are the future. Bai Yu nearly screamed. Yi Zichen quickly covered her mouth with his hand. Don't make a ruckus. I didn't think you were talkative in the game. Why are you so talkative outside? You really are the future, exclaimed Bai Yu. How could it be fake? Yi Zichen tilted his head and glanced at her. Did you not know from the start? I thought you already investigated me. I was afraid you would be unhappy, so I didn't dare to investigate, said Bai Yu. Ha, then I really have to thank you for your respect for me. Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile when he saw Bai Yu turn around. Let's not talk about that. We'll talk about the rest later. I have a lot of things to ask you as well. Can we run first? Alright. After confirming that Yi Zichen was the future, Bai Yu's face turned bright red. She really didn't expect to think that he would meet him here. Was this the fate that Hua Jianrou always talked about? The entire universe was so big, and there were a lot of assessment areas. Yet, the two of them had been assigned to the same assessment area. When he thought of this, Bai Yu couldn't help but blush. Mu, is that person still running towards us? He glanced at Mu. If it was just him and Bai Yu in this group, they would have shaken off the golden sand lizards a long time ago. It was just that the strength of their team members was uneven. He and Bai Yu had to hold them back for a while. It is still running towards us. It is about 500 meters away from us, Mu said with a frown. Is there something wrong with this guy? Why is he chasing us? Before Yi Zichen could finish his sentence, Ling Xiao suddenly pointed into the distance and shouted. It's she too! Who? Yi Zichen, who was running in front, slowly stopped and looked into the distance with a frown. In front of a large group of golden sand lizards, it was Shi Tuesday. He didn't know how this guy had provoked so many golden sand lizards, but those lizards were chasing after him as if they didn't care about their lives. Didn't he withdraw from the competition? Why is he still here? Tiger Head asked. The tournament of geniuses only happens once every 1,000 years. How could he have withdrawn so willingly? Amu muttered in understanding, then turned to Yi Zichen and Bai Yu. Big brother Yi, big sister Yu, what should we do? Do you need help? After learning that Yi Zichen was the future, Bai Yu seemed to have lost her usual domineering attitude. She tilted her head and looked in Yi Zichen's direction. Seriously? Golden sand filled the sky. From the swirling sand in the air, it was clear just how many golden sand lizards there were behind Shi Tuesday. But no matter what, this guy had been with their team for a while. Although things didn't end well, they still had some feelings for each other. Shi Tu also saw Yi Zichen and Bai Yu. His eyes seemed to be bursting with hope that he could survive. Big brother Yi, big sister Yu, save me! Yi Zichen couldn't help but sigh when he heard Shi Tu's shout. Get ready! As soon as he said that, the temperature in the desert plummeted, and all the water elements in the surroundings began to gather around Yi Zichen. Everyone could feel the humidity in the air. I don't have the confidence to freeze them all. I don't have the confidence to kill them all either. Bai Yu looked at Yi Zichen worriedly. Let's try. All of a sudden, the entire sky above the desert was covered by dark clouds. Flames also began to burn behind Bai Yu. This time, the flames she released were the same white flames Yi Zichen had seen in the second universe. If you had used this earlier, I would have recognized you a long time ago. Yi Zichen tilted his head and glanced at her. Bai Yu pursed her lips. It's going to rain. A torrential downpour fell from the sky. The lizards that were drenched by the rain froze in place like statues. After that, white flames surged forward, turning the entire desert into a sea of flames. Take advantage of this moment. Shi Tu also ran in front of Yi Zichen and Bai Yu, then collapsed onto the ground as if he had collapsed. Shi Tu, Ling Xiao, Hu Tu, and Amu hurriedly ran over. Roar! At that very moment, the golden sand lizards in the distance suddenly roared angrily. No! There are too many of them. Retreat! With that, Yi Zichen chucked Ling Xiao in front of Bai Yu, then grabbed the exhausted Shi Tu. Retreat! Manned flight used up a lot of cosmic energy, but there was no other way to escape. More than 2 hours passed. Yi Zichen and Bai Yu left the golden sand lizards further and further behind. When they lost their target, they stopped chasing. Yi Zichen chucked Shi Tu onto the ground. Yi Zichen couldn't help but sit on the ground and let out a long sigh. Yi Zichen, hurry up and replenish your cosmic energy. Bai Yu took out a pill and personally fed it to Yi Zichen. She knew that Yi Zichen was the future. Bai Yu's attitude towards Yi Zichen had completely changed. Little did she know. Ling Xiao and Bai Yu were completely dumbfounded. Big brother Yi and big sister Yu. Shi Tu, who was on the verge of collapse, watched in shock as Bai Yu personally fed Yi Zichen a pill. What happened recently? When did they become so close? We don't know either. Amu and company also shook their heads. Yi Zichen raised his hand and slapped Shi Tu's head. Why are you so nosy? Didn't I tell you to back out of the competition? Why didn't you back out? You even provoked so many lizards. If you didn't run into us, you might already be dead. Shi Tu, who was slapped, hurriedly turned around. Big brother Yi, big sister Yu, I know I was wrong. Can you let me rejoin the team? Chapter 2503. Shi Tu's eyes were pleading as he sat on the sand. When they saw his pitiful expression, Ling Xiao and the others couldn't bear to see him like this. They all knew how dangerous the Golden Desert was. If it weren't for Big Brother Yi and Big Sister Yu, They might not even be able to survive on a single planet. Even so, they didn't say anything. They knew very well that they were only able to stay here because of Big Brother Yi and Big Sister Yu's care. If they spoke up for Shitu, then that would be too much. The decision was in Yi Zichen's hands. I told you to quit, but you didn't. Now you want to come back? Yi Zichen tilted his head. Aren't you afraid of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion causing trouble for you? I am. Shitu bit his lips. Everyone's expressions changed. He dared to say he was afraid? He'd given up on the Heaven and Earth Pavilion precisely because he was afraid. He really didn't have a good memory. That's for sure. To me, the Heaven and Earth Pavilion is a colossal existence. But I've come to understand that fear in my heart isn't shameful. It only helps me understand reality better. There's a huge gap between me and the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, but that doesn't mean I can't face them. This knockout round is also an opportunity for me. An opportunity to become stronger. Shitu clenched his fists, and his gaze turned vicious. Even if I quit now, the Heaven and Earth Pavilion will still cause trouble for me. Instead of quitting just like that, I might as well stay here and fight. As long as I advance, not even the Heaven and Earth Pavilion will dare to touch me. You want to become enemies with the Heaven and Earth Pavilion? Yi Zichen tilted his head. No. Shitu shook his head. I want to become enemies with all the competitors here. It's not that I want to. It's just that the moment we entered this place, everything was decided. Shitu's eyes flashed with fire. Baiyu frowned and looked at him for a long time without saying anything. Yi Zichen nodded in satisfaction. Wasn't it right to think that way from the start? I only realized it later. Shitu scratched his head. Shitu scratched his head. I hope it's not too late. Brother Yi, Sister Yu, can you let me come back? Of course. Yi Zichen didn't hesitate at all. Shitu's eyes instantly lit up. Thank you, Brother Yi, thank you, Sister Yu. Tiger Head and the others also rushed forward and hugged Shitu's day. The entire team returned to how it was at the beginning. In order to escape from the golden sand lizard, Shitu had used up too much energy from the universe. Yi Zichen also gave him a pill to replenish his energy. He rested for half a day. Thus, the team set off towards the new supply box. Shitu and company walked in front, while Yi Zichen and Baiyu followed behind. Why did you let him come back? Baiyu frowned and looked at Shitu with an unfriendly gaze. I feel like there's a problem with him coming back this time. Why? I don't know. It's just a woman's intuition. Baiyu said, plus, don't you think his transformation is a bit too ridiculous? How could someone who's a coward to his bones suddenly become like this? Also, the direction he fled in. You think it's too coincidental? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. That's right. It really is too coincidental. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. Actually, I don't really trust him. It's just like you said, he's changed too much. It's hard to believe it's real. Of course, I'm not saying it's impossible. Sometimes, a person matures in the blink of an eye. But he is worth paying attention to. Then what are you going to do? Baiyu asked. It's up to him, Yi Zichen shrugged. Yi Zichen shrugged. I'm not too sure what he came back to do. How to deal with it will depend on what he does. Let's not talk about him. Let's talk about you. Why did you come to the Banao Galaxy? My dad told me to come, Baiyu shrugged. Actually, I could have directly participated in the last elimination round. It's just that my dad said I'm too inexperienced, so he told me to start from the first round. What about Meng Luo and the others? They should be watching the livestream. While Baiyu was speaking, in a certain house on planet Een F***CK. Believe it or not, I'm 90% sure that Lil Bai is with Future. Hua Jianro reached out her hand and shouted. Future God! Meng Luo and the Flame Rat were both stunned. How did you know? You guys should know your big sister by well. If it was someone she doesn't know, do you think she would be so intimate with them? Hua Jianro raised her eyebrows. Also, even if it's someone she knows, she's extremely cold towards them. The only person she's warm towards is her dad and future. You should know very well about the flame rat. Even if it was you, she would never get so close to you. That's true. The flame rat was momentarily stunned. Our Lil, Bai and future really do have an unbreakable bond. Hua Jianro giggled as she watched the video. Hua Jianro giggled as she looked at the image in the video. She nodded her head in satisfaction. I think these two have a chance. Meng Luo, you're done for. Your future brother might be stolen by you. Don't worry, my dad has a few wives. Hua Jianro paused, then patted Meng Luo's head. Do you know that it's dangerous to think like that? Next time I see your dad, I'll have to talk to him about this. Unbeknownst to them. At this moment, on Blue River Planet, Xia Kiki pursed her lips and frowned at the situation on the screen. Susu, look at him. He's messing around again. He's already a father, yet he's still like this. I'm going to die from anger. Just wait and see how I'll deal with him when he comes back. Can you bear to? Lu Jing muttered. Why wouldn't I? Xia Kiki frowned. Not really. Su Yan smiled. They're just in a team. They're both at the peak of the universe. In order to survive, they have to communicate. I don't think so. Lu Jing pouted. I think so too. Li Jiai nodded. We need to give him some space. Su Yan was still as gentle as ever. Oh right, big sister Yumei went out for a long time. Why isn't she back yet? I don't know. The great sage and Yang Jian went out too. Xia Kiki looked at where the great sage and Yang Jian used to be. Strange, where did they go? Before Xia Kiki could finish speaking, suddenly Yang Jian ran back into the room with a serious expression on his face. Seeing his expression, everyone furrowed their brows. What's wrong? Then, they saw Yang Jian let out a breath. The Milky Way galaxy has been attacked. Chapter 2504. What did you say? All of a sudden, everyone in the living room stood up from their seat. The Milky Way galaxy was attacked? How is that possible? Isn't our galaxy very well hidden? Where's Her Majesty? Su Yan frowned. The Milky Way galaxy won't be in danger if she's here. I already went to look for her. Yang Jian's eyes were filled with disappointment. I didn't find her. Her Majesty isn't in the castle. Could it be that she felt bored staying in the castle all the time, so she went out for a walk? Xia Kiki asked. There's no sign of her in this life planet. The Milky Way galaxy was attacked. The first person Yang Jian thought of was Her Majesty, because Yi Zichen had told him more than once. She was a major power in the universe. With her around, the Milky Way galaxy would definitely be safe. Even before the competition, Yi Zichen had reminded Yang Jian multiple times to keep in close contact with the Milky Way galaxy, and to inform Her Majesty immediately if there were any problems. That's what he did. The Milky Way galaxy's intelligence agents were stationed outside the dark spot in the Milky Way galaxy. They would enter the Milky Way galaxy every 3 days to check on the situation, then come out and inform Yang Jian through the virtual network. Not long ago, he suddenly received news that the Milky Way galaxy was attacked. The first thing he thought of was to find Her Majesty, but she didn't exist in the Blue River Star. How could this be? Xia Kiki frowned. The monkey, Yumei, and the others have already returned in a spaceship. Yang Jian frowned. Yang Jian furrowed his brows. From his expression, one could tell that he was panicking inside. I'm just informing you guys that I'm going back now. You guys stay here. No, I have to go back. Without waiting for Yang Jian to finish speaking, Su Yan bit her lips and said, I'm the Milky Way galaxy's goddess of life. I have the best healing abilities. The Milky Way galaxy is under attack. I have to go back. Me too. Xia Kiki also frowned. Kiki, you stay here. Su Yan pursed her lips. The Milky Way galaxy is too dangerous right now. You can't go back. I'm the clan head of the dragon race. Suddenly, A heavy pressure was released from Xia Kik's body. A turbulent aura swirled around her. I must go back. Only with me around can the dragon tribe possess the strongest combat power. The head of the dragon race possessed the blessing of the entire race. This was also the reason why Xia Kiki said those words. This is no longer a battle that the dragon clan can participate in. I must go back. Xia Kik's expression didn't leave any room for negotiation. Seeing her determined gaze, Su Yen couldn't help but let out a long sigh. All right. We're going back too. Lu Jing and Li Jie also stood up. You? The Milky Way is our home. Now that our home is under attack, how can we sit back and do nothing? Lu Jing and Li Jie frowned. We need to protect the Milky Way. Now that Yi is not here, we can only rely on ourselves. But the babies? Let's just stay here. Xia Kiki hesitated for a moment, then grabbed Yi Yi's arm. Yi Yi, you're the big sister now. Stay here and take care of your little brothers and sisters, okay? I know. Yi Yi nodded vigorously. Okay. Xia Kiki let out a deep breath, then kissed Yi Yi's forehead, then looked at the others. We need a high-grade spaceship. We need to return to the Milky Way in the shortest time possible. A few days ago, the Milky Way, the dazzling Milky Way, was like a beautiful painting. What a splendid galaxy! This galaxy is as beautiful as a painting, and there are so many stars that are as vast as rivers. This is definitely the most beautiful galaxy I've ever seen. I really love this place to death. After several months of wandering in the universe, Mingbu and the others finally arrived at the Milky Way. Due to equipment problems, even after confirming the dark spot in space, it still took them more than half a month to travel through it. This place is too beautiful. The crew members in the spaceship all sighed. Let alone them, anyone who came here would surely sigh at the beauty of the Milky Way. Resplendent silver, spiraling like a whirlpool. In the entire universe, no galaxy could be as mesmerizing as the Milky Way. Captain, can I take a photo as a souvenir? Ha ha ha, from now on, this galaxy will be our home. When that time comes, we'll have so much time to admire this galaxy. Mingbu's eyes were filled with excitement. What we need to do now is to quickly confirm the strongest in this galaxy. Captain, scanning complete. At this moment, the Vice Captain Crow ran out. How is it? Are there any universe levels and above? There aren't any universe levels, Crow said excitedly. That's great. As for the domain, star and nebula levels, they didn't even need to scan. As long as there weren't any universe levels, then they were invincible. Begin. Scan the main energy sources of the Milky Way, search for traces of human activity and life planets with humans. Yes. The entire spaceship began to get busy. This definitely wasn't the time to be excited. They had to seize every second. Before the Tulip family came, they had to open up resources that belonged to them. Once the Tulip family came, this place would belong to the family and they wouldn't have anything to do. This is private territory. Please show me your identities. At this moment, the Cosmic System State slaves stationed outside the dark spot walked out and looked at the ship before them. They had no impression of this ship. However, the ones who returned to the Milky Way previously were their masters and the people of the Milky Way galaxy. They subconsciously thought this ship was one of their own. This kind of inquiry was actually purely a formality. Captain, there are natives who found us. In the cabin, Crow frowned and said, What level? Cosmic System State. I didn't expect there to be a Cosmic System State in this native galaxy. It's not bad. Mingbu twisted his neck. You guys continue with your work, I'll deal with them. As soon as he finished, the cabin door of the ship opened. The guarding slaves also revealed a smile. It seemed that one of their own had returned. When the person walked out of the cabin, Who are you? Mingbu squinted his eyes and smiled, suddenly disappearing from the spot. When he appeared again, the guards had lost their chi. I'm your master, Master Mingbu,